Is it?
I bet.
Is it? Wait, I didn't hear you say anything.
Oh,
Adeline
Is it WAP?
Wait, what?
Is it WAP? Is it WAP, Kezia?
No.
Okay, we're streaming, it looks like.
Okay.
It's
Are you gonna give us any clues, or?
yeah, it's
Sweet Caroline. Life is a Highway.
No.
The Imperial March.
No.
Star Wars music.
The song that the dad sings in Coraline.
No. I love that song though. I sing it a lot actually.
All of Coraline.
Like I'm not even joking.
Is it the exposition song that Bone Jangle sings at the beginning of The Corpse Bride?
Love that song too.
Consider the coconut.
Like, what up? This bitch is dead. And you're married to her now. Welcome to The Corpse Bride. My name is Bone Jangle.
She got murdered and now you are stuck with her for eternity. Yeah.
You're married now.
Away.
Isn't death a fun construct?
Isn't it cool that this girl was murdered?
Consider the coconut.
Consider
Consider death.
It was white and nerdy.
Oh.
You know, that's on brand. It's really on brand.
My front lawn.
Has Weird Al like only does cameos and stuff anymore? Has he made any like new music?
The last time he made new music was when he did a single that was the Hamilton polka. So that'll probably tell you about precisely when that was.
That's real good.
Yeah.
That's real good though.
But yeah, I mean, he said, when he did his last album, he said, like, I'm not going to do albums anymore, because, like, in the time it takes to make an album, like, songs become unpopular. Like, everything just moves so fast. Which I took to mean, I'll probably just release singles from now on when I do stuff. And I was like, that's sick, Weird Al, you do you. But he has not been doing that. So maybe he just doesn't make new music anymore? I don't know.
There has been a lot going on in the world, so if he was just taking a little break, I think I wouldn't be mad at Weird Al.
He did a tour that I really wanted to go to where he was like only doing original songs. He wasn't doing any of his parody songs, and I was like, that sounds sick. Like, I would show up for that for real.
Yeah, I feel like he was coming. I vaguely remember that. I feel like he was coming to somewhere near us. If it wasn't in Spokane, it was like Seattle or something.
I'm pretty sure it was, because I was going to go to that concert, and then I was like, ooh, those are kind of pricey for a Weird Al concert.
Yeah. I love you, Al, but
Love you,
My first concert ever was a Weird Al concert.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, that's really cool, actually. Oh, so wasn't that also, you know, in the Goldbergs, the guy, wasn't that also his first concert? I just turned into my grandpa. I'm so sorry.
I haven't seen the Goldbergs. But
it's good. It's pretty good.
Maybe. I don't really love like family sitcoms.
That's pretty fair.
Oh, watch this. Watch this, you guys. Are you excited for this? Okay, hold on. I'm gonna change the microphone that Audition is using to record, and then everything's gonna get ruined.
Cool. Great. Should I start recording on Audition?
Yeah. If you guys, Ilan, we started, cool. If you just want to start your recording whenever you want to, I just sync it up to the VOD of the stream afterwards, so we don't do any kind of sync or anything anymore.
Okay.
I started recording a long time ago.
Testing.
Sometimes we're funny, sometimes we're not.
You know, those bits, you gotta make sure those bits stay intact, you know what I'm saying?
Oops, all bits.
Oops. Oh, everything didn't even get ruined. I'm impressed.
Yay!
Go Apple.
Wow.
I'm at like 5 frames per second while Audition loads up. Ooh.
Okay.
Fine, we're fine. Good. I like that this is happening.
It's all we need.
This is on purpose. This is all on purpose.
Now I'm gonna have the coconut song stuck in my head for the rest of the night.
Away. This is why we don't leave the island.
Jackson.
I know, I'm just making fun of the multiple weird exposition songs in Moana.
They're good. They're good songs. Leave Moana alone.
Okay. I think everything's
I don't have any funny goofs for The Last Jedi. Kevin? What's happening?
Everything good, Ilan?
Good thing.
I think so. Yep.
Okay. So, okay, I mean, I was just telling Adeline this. I'm trying to figure out a joke. And I just want to crowdsource
Oh god,
this.
not this again.
I've got some like different bullet points that I'm trying to connect the dots between, and I'm not quite there yet, right? Okay, so bidets.
Yes.
If you use a bidet,
No one love them.
You end up with a wet ass.
It's true.
Right? And if you add, like, if you were to say wet ass asshole instead, you could rope Waluigi in on that. So
asshole?
I'm trying to connect the dots between WAP and bidets and Waluigi into like a concise tweet, maybe. If any of you guys have any ideas. There are stars in the galaxy, and I'm trying to make a picture in between.
So here are points.
Okay.
WAP, bidets. And what's the last one?
And Waluigi.
And Waluigi.
When you use a bidet,
so we gotta string these bad boys together.
When you use a bidet, you've got a wet ass.
The love triangle of our dreams.
And if you say it like you say WAP, it comes out wah. That's the conceit here. I'm trying to connect. I'm trying to like.
Okay.
I need like a crucible. I want you guys to be the crucible through which a good joke comes out of this.
Wait, are we connecting another dot to the crucible?
No. Brevity
but Jackson, I hate to break this to you. I guarantee I could literally probably Google and bring it up on YouTube or TikTok right now that Waluigi singing WAP is absolutely 100% a thing.
But it's not
about It's a joke that's been already made.
It's not about bidets, though. That's my unique
But if
spin
you just said... If you just said, like, hashtag Waluigi loves bidets because he loves that wet-ass asshole, like, that's all I got for you because that's just what the joke is.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess it would be like Waluigi is pro bidets.
Maybe the Waluigi thing is overcomplicating it. Maybe I just used a bidet, got that wah.
Yeah, see, that's pretty good. That's good.
Just a picture of Waluigi. And you're like, you connect the dots yourself.
Right,
You get it. You know.
You know
well, do you say wah and then in parentheses wet ass asshole, or do you just let people figure it out?
No, I think we get Waluigi out of it. Just WAA. And that's funny on its own, right? Got that wet ass.
Funny on its own. We're not a good sounding board for if it.
Could you find a picture of Waluigi's ass? I think that would clear up all the miscommunications.
Right, okay, maybe.
I think that's what you need. If you could just get a tasteful image of Waluigi's ass, maybe put a bidet in there too. I feel like that would get too graphic, but just a tasteful Waluigi ass, I think that would do it.
You know what? Here's what I'm going to tweet. Just use a bidet, comma.
So we're lying right off the bat.
Right. Got that capital WAA. And then maybe I put in parentheses wet ass.
Cover art of WAP even look like? Because we could just put Waluigi in there. WAP cover art.
Maybe you comment that. Then it looks kind of natural. Like you're the one that's pointing out that it sounds like Waluigi and it wasn't my idea.
Oh, you want me to go in there and be like,
yeah.
Hey, Jackson, have you considered something?
I'm giving you the alley-oop and I want you to dunk it, Adeline.
For some reason,
so I've got some...
Waluigi singing this in my head. Wow.
I've got some terrible news for you. I just Googled Waluigi cover art WAP, and there is someone's already beat us to it. It is WAP, except Megan Thee Stallion's head is Waluigi.
Right. So post that underneath. I just tweeted it. Hey, for the chat at home, everybody go like my good tweet I just made.
Yeah.
And Adeline, you dunk it. You do the alley-oop, and then that's that. Fame and fortune, I think.
Okay. Hold on.
Fortune. My glory. I hope
this does look like it is. Want to see what I'm known for. I am just ripping this off of Google. I should maybe see if I could credit somebody, but they are just it's all stolen images. So do I need to credit the person who made it? Because the person who made it just stole images and put them together. So
I don't think so.
I don't know.
I don't think taking a transparent JPEG of Waluigi and putting it on top of WAP merits Photoshop credit.
You don't get to say art is art, Jackson.
Yeah,
Jackson.
But
people paint white squares and they sell for millions.
Right, but if you did that, it would look exactly the same, right? We were already planning on doing that. That's my argument.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
And that's what NFTs are.
Well, and it's like... What? Okay, can somebody explain to me what the fuck NFTs are? I've only seen Paris Hilton's Among Us OC, and that's all the context I have for the whole thing. Like, that's all I got.
It's... Okay, so you know how Bitcoin is nothing?
Yes.
Yeah. Imagine if Bitcoin was a picture instead. That's what an NFT is.
Okay, but so they're stealing art and putting like a price point on it?
Well, okay. I'm not like an expert in this, but I have like a good feel about it, which is that there's a lot of different controversies about NFTs, but one of them is that anybody could just make one, so it's very easy for you to just steal some art and turn it into an NFT and sell it for $1 billion.
Yeah.
Or at least try to sell it for $1 billion. Yes.
Yeah.
Because it has like sort of an inherent like computational weight value like Bitcoin does. Like the value of Bitcoin comes from power to farm it. And it's like,
yeah.
And like an NFT is like a picture. Imagine it as like a picture you made out of Bitcoin. And usually people are doing that of their own stuff. So they can be like, here's an NFT. It's like a unique, one-of-a-kind thing that you can buy as if it were a piece of original art. And the difference between it and just a JPEG that you downloaded off Twitter is that it's made out of Bitcoin, so it's special and there's only one of them. I only gave out one copy of this. And it does have some like inherent monetary value in that. But just like Bitcoin, it is also literally just a currency made out of using energy, which is obviously quite bad for the environment, and anybody can do it, and it's also stupid. So those are the threefold controversies.
Gotcha. Okay, I'm replying to your tweet now.
Thank you, Adeline. I appreciate that.
Okay, gotcha.
Your tweet now after you explain that to me.
Now I will reply to your tweet.
Accept an acceptable payment, unlike Bitcoin.
Right.
I had to pay the troll toll of having NDAs, not NDAs, whatever the fuck, NFTs.
Yeah. Don't ask me to explain what Bitcoin, where it gets its value from, or like what it actually is, because I'm still really hazy on that, but...
Bitcoin, as far as I know, it's like getting money from other people's online transactions or something.
I don't think
it gets its value from people loving Elon Musk. Like the more you love Elon Musk,
I mean that's kind of true.
It counts.
Mm-hmm.
That's that. If you love Elon Musk, you'll be richer. That's just those are the facts of life. I don't know what to say.
You know what I've been thinking about a lot the last few days?
Mm-hmm.
Is we all hate Elon Musk, right? Fuck Elon Musk. That's the common refrain.
Yeah.
We're all very mad at Elon Musk all the time.
Yeah. I'll British flip him off right now.
When it comes to evil billionaires, Elon Musk is kind of the least evil of them, right? Because he's constantly campaigning to save the planet and has an electric car company that's quite successful, right?
But he's a huge asshole about it and steps on people on the way there.
Well, but here's the thing. All billionaires are assholes. It's kind of inherent to the whole premise. The only thing about Elon Musk is that he's annoying on Twitter, right? That's the only reason they hate him more than anybody else.
Well, because it's like the Joker. He has become this figurehead for neck-bearded assholes who just think that being smart. It's the whole Rick and Morty thing. People who think that being smart and having money is cooler than being nice to people or treating people with any kind of respect. Because we could just we could just go to Mars. It's like that. That's why he's stuck so bad. But he's also dating Grimes, and I still have no fucking clue how that works.
Right, but
yeah, Grimes is a class traitor.
All other billionaires.
Yeah, she really fucking is, though, right?
But like all other billionaire CEOs are destroying the planet anonymously, right?
True.
And we don't
Except for
dunk
Bill
on
Gates,
them
arguably.
constantly.
So come up with a list and we'll dunk on them.
Except for Elon Musk, who's like actively trying not to ruin the planet more than any other of them that I can think of. Like if there's
he's trying to actively ruin the planet so that we can go to Mars.
That's
You don't
not true.
understand. He's not helping the planet.
Profitable electric car company.
No, have you seen all the stuff about those cars, all the electric self-driving Tesla cars that just like fucking plow into other cars or plow into intersections to get whoever's driving it fucking killed, and then they cover all that shit up so nobody knows about it?
Well, here's the thing. This is actually very fascinating.
Yes.
Because that was like the biggest engineering problem with the self-driving car, right? Is literally like that trolley problem where they're like, what kind of algorithm could we possibly ethically make to determine if there's a situation where it kills the driver, if there's like some sort of horrible circumstance, it can either kill the driver or kill somebody else. What do you do? And like, first of all, like, basically what they decided on was that you just let the consumer decide. So if you get, there aren't really commercially available. Yeah, there aren't really commercially available self-driving cars, but like the whatever you call like the beta, the like testing models, there's just like a screen where it can be like, pick a number. How many people do you want your car to kill before it kills you? And like, in the event of a horrible accident, not just automatically, but
you get the car. How many people would you like to kill?
Right.
1, 4.
But it's just fascinating. I think that's a fascinating, like, engineering problem. Anyway.
The problem that I saw, no, shut up. The point that I saw with the self-driving car was not like it was like hit person or drive into a pole and die. It was literally like there was like a traffic jam or something, and like they like turned left and there was just a snowplow there. So they just like drove directly into the snowplow and killed a person. Was like what the problem was. It wasn't the trolley problem scenario where it's like, what do you do? Kill the person in the car, kill the person outside the car. It wasn't that. It was just straight up the car being like not ready to be on the road yet, and people died because of it.
Yeah. My point is that I think
stop standing Elon Musk, Jackson.
My point is, I think Elon Musk gets a disproportionate amount of hate considering the circumstances only because he's annoying. It's just weird for me to think about.
It's because he chose to get a Twitter. He chose to make his fucking icon. He chose to be annoying.
He's just annoying.
Full Metal Alchemist, he chose. That was his choice.
You can just say he's annoying.
He made
That's
that decision.
And he's number 1. He's at the top. The top.
It's true.
He took Jeff Bezos' spot, and I also don't like Jeff Bezos, so.
Right.
Didn't he, like, get fired from Tesla, though? What happened with all of that?
No, I don't think so.
That was, like, he got, like, kicked off the board of directors. This was forever ago. It feels like 10 years ago now. It was probably, like, 2 years ago.
That's the sort of thing that just happens in weird corporate...
Was that Tesla or SpaceX?
Oh, Elon was also the guy who keeps giving money to coups and saying he has the authority to dictate other governments because he has money.
Right.
So that's another thing.
Just like Star Wars.
But that's just billionaire shit.
Wars.
That's what billionaires do.
Yeah, billionaires suck, man.
I don't understand the stance that you're taking. Why can't the answer just be they all suck? Why are you saying he doesn't suck as much as others? Why can't it be they all suck?
They all suck. It's just that Elon Musk gets all the flack because he's annoying and we ignore all the other ones.
You're just trying to give him a free pass.
No, I'm not.
No. This is what I'm hearing, is that we need to be giving more billionaires more flack.
Yes. We directed all at Elon Musk because he's annoying. And that's not a crime.
With the equal amount Elon Musk has already been getting, but then up it to match all of the other billionaires. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
And see, because Jeff Bezos doesn't have a Twitter where he makes an icon anime characters that he likes with his girlfriend. I guess his ex-wife now, but you know.
Oh,
God, anyway.
I'm up to date on the Grimes tea.
What if Grimes was just also dating Jeff Bezos?
Is Grimes music good? Do we like Grimes music? I don't think I've ever heard it before.
It's not bad. It's kind of like Halsey-esque.
Okay.
And kind of the same controversy around Halsey, because I've also heard that Halsey isn't a great person. But she's like very much an alternative type of person, and that it makes no fucking sense because she's dating a billionaire and had his kid? Question mark. I don't know. But she's a class traitor. There's just no
Star Wars.
Yeah.
Okay, so hey,
There's
what's
just
up?
no other way to phrase it.
What's up, chat at home, listeners, viewers, beloved audience? My name is Jackson McMurray, Thunder Lord and Cloudbreaker and Sky Killer McMurray.
Star Killer.
My name is Adeline. Palpatine should have stayed dead. And actually, my dad's also Palpatine, but my dad's also Palpatine's dad, who's Palpatine, but a clone of Palpatine's dad. So it's actually Palpatine, and then he's my dad, and his dad is also Palpatine. But so then the clone machine is also kind of my dad, McMurray.
Republic.
I'm Ilan DJ Hernandez, I guess.
Yeah.
Pump it up, Ilan.
or DJ as in I'm gonna sell you to the First Order.
Right. Was that a joke about the cat headphones I put on you, or was that a joke about Last Jedi?
Double entendre.
So we are here. Finally, we've been running through Star Wars for more than a year at this point. Right? Because when we did when we did Phantom Menace, it was with Anna, and that was
10 years ago.
It was about a year ago, because it was around the same. It was like March. I had like just moved back home for the pandemic. For the spring pandemic.
Love the pandemic.
Yeah. So
I remember her.
Just like
time with the pandemic.
Plugging
just can't
away.
shake her off.
Yeah.
It's March 22nd, 2020 was when the first one was published on Spotify.
The first Star Wars.
Phantom Menace. Yeah. The first Star War ever.
But how weird is it that we consistently fucked up every part of dealing with a pandemic here in the United States, but we're like absolutely killing it with the vaccine right now. Like, it's like we'd spent the entire gymnastics routine just like tripping over ourselves and like just making an absolute asshole of ourselves, and then did the most beautiful, gorgeous flip at the end and stuck the landing.
Well, it's because it's an easy fix. You just do it once and you're good. It's not a commitment like wearing a mask is, and Americans won't make commitments to help
literally
other people.
An expert on this, so
you are.
You've been testing people.
Oh, you talk? No, I mean,
grinding.
What I'll say for myself is I work as a contact tracer right now at a at a university in Spokane. Yeah, so I mean, I'm not doing anything medical, but I'm around for a ton of stuff. Like I recently was, around. I was part of kind of the staff that was doing a vaccine clinic out of a place on campus. It was really interesting. Like the National Guard was there to help with it, and it went really well. It was really well run. Like 2-day thing that we did of like the first dose, and then in a couple weeks, like the first like week of May, we'll have those folks back for their second. So I've been around to see it. I've been vaccinated myself, so I've been in other clinics to see how things are going there, and it's been like really impressive how it's been going. But also just like being a person who's also just had an excuse to like really read a lot about like what the CDC's posting and just trying to be as well informed as I can, so that in conversations with people, if there's a need to, I can kind of draw from all of that, because people have a lot of questions, and sometimes it's just good to have as much of a, sometimes even beyond of a basic understanding, so that you can try to make people relax a little bit with kind of grounded stuff like that. So, but no, yeah, I think I totally agree, Adeline. I think we're killing it in this phase, because this is what we've been like ever since we got the inkling of, we're going to just like work like literally in warp speed to get this thing made.
Right.
And then this will be the deliverance basically. But we're in that weird in-between phase where like we're doing really well and we're like racing against time to do it. But we have this whole other thing where like, even if you are fully vaccinated, obviously you're still recommended to still do a lot of the safety guidelines. You're not all of a sudden immune entirely.
Vaccinated club.
Yeah.
Halfway.
I almost forgot to say this. It's a good thing we're doing this on Wednesday because my second vaccine appointment is on Friday morning. So I would have been doing the podcast,
that would have been bad.
Like actively becoming sick while on the podcast.
It's kind of fun. It's kind of fun to do.
Because it was for which podcast was it that you were sick for?
Oh, it was Godzilla, maybe?
I think it was
the one after Godzilla.
What was it?
I don't remember. I had a lot to say, though.
Oh, it was Snyder Cut. It was the Snyder Cut podcast.
It was Snyder Cut. I stayed up I spent a lot of time watching that thing. I was not going to be sitting out.
You committed 6 hours of your time to watching different versions of Justice League. You weren't going to let the
You really did.
Not going to make that time.
It took me like 3 days to watch that thing. I mean, I enjoyed it. It was a good time, but it's just like I don't have time. I gotta get sleep.
Me and one of my roommates went one sitting. We just sat the fuck down and nailed it. Actually, I watched the first half of it and then got up for a snack, and my roommate was like, "Oh, are you watching that?" And I was like, "Yeah, we could just start over if you want." So I did end up watching about 5.5 hours of Snyder Cut in one sitting. I forgot to say that on the podcast. Anyway.
Wow. Wowie.
But, okay, the point, though, Star Wars, right? The only Jedi.
Know it, love it.
The only Jedi.
And there's only one of them.
Well, yeah, that's the premise. Usually Star Wars, there's a lot of Jedi.
So guys, imagine.
But this movie
there's one Jedi.
There's just one of them. And this is, it's one that we are excited and nervous about at the same time, I think.
Yes.
I think we have pretty strong feelings about Last Jedi that run in mostly the same direction. I don't want to speak for you, but I think Keisha's a little bit more lukewarm on this movie than the rest of us are. But I think everyone here is mostly pro Last Jedi. We're a Last Jedi fam.
Well, because you and me, Jackson, have a history of talking about Star Wars on episodes that have fucking nothing to do with Star Wars. So I think we've both individually already kind of said what we wanted to say about The Last Jedi. But now we've opened ourselves up to be disagreed with. So now we're doing that.
Right. I was going to say, now we're doing it with a chat and people listening to us.
Yeah.
Thank that got flack.
Wait, say again, Keisha?
Last time I didn't like Mank very much. I got a lot of flack from that. So we'll see
how
it goes.
You really did.
That's because it took you like 3
that
hours.
Wasn't you not liking Mank. That was you not saying things.
Your
you
stance.
kept prodding me.
Your stance was, if you don't like historical Hollywood movies, you might like this one. But you spent like an hour trying to just say that you don't
you won't watch it.
The opposite. Yeah. You kept wanting me to admit the opposite. I wasn't going to. I was going to stand firm in my decision.
All right.
You were like, you won't watch the movie. It's like, okay, then you watch the movie. You watch it.
Yeah, okay, we can't keep relitigating old podcast bits.
Mm-hmm.
This is bad content. Okay.
You're bad content.
So, where am I going with this? The Last Jedi. I have
yes.
a couple of different takes on why exactly this movie became the weird cultural atom bomb that it was. I think the biggest one is just that it was the first one that came out in the Trump administration. I really just kind of think that's it.
Yeah.
I think that's probably like the first 75% of why it became such a weird flashpoint in culture.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I think it is a movie that is kind of transgressive, and there are like reasonable things that people don't like about this movie, right? Like just the idea, it's like if you want Star Wars to be a simple story, you want it to be something that you can just enjoy and you don't have to think too hard about, that can just be comfortable, then you probably don't like this movie very much.
Good things good, bad things bad.
Yeah, and
keep it that way.
This movie is like going really far out of its way to dissect that, but I think if this movie had come out in late 2015, I think it would have been divisive, but I don't think we would have made a big deal about it. I think, people would have been like, oh, I kind of hated it. And we'd be like, what? No, it's great. And they'd be like, I don't know. I just don't like it when they're making Luke look bad or whatever. And you'd be like, oh, come on, though. And that would be what it would be like. It would be fun. It would be like a fun time, and we'd be ribbing each other. Like it was with The Force Awakens, because people were kind of divided on Force Awakens too, but we all had a good time with it. I truly think it's just a matter of like the culture changing around these movies so quickly that it's hard to keep up with it sometimes.
And I think it has to deal with, of course, the Trump administration, and then just how internet culture has changed and stayed the exact same way it's always been, kind of like, especially post Snyder Cut, it very much was. I feel like this was just at the forefront of like fans being entitled to what they want out of media, and like how he discussed, and so like then leads to the Last Skywalker, but being like, so like this didn't deliver to me exactly what I want, and because we're already talking about other things that didn't give me what I wanted, I feel explicitly like entitled to be like, this sucks shit, I want what I wanted, because we were already kind of having that conversation just in media. So I think, it really was just a shitstorm of everything to go be like, this is gonna change everything about Star Wars for no reason.
And I think one of the things that I think is fascinating. Oh, go ahead, Kezia. Sorry, I've been talking a bunch already.
Say it's a little bit of like baby bear syndrome, where The Force Awakens was too much like old Star Wars. It's not creative enough. And then The Last Jedi is, this doesn't feel like Star Wars at all. Like, your porch is too cold and your porch is too hot. Like, what do you want?
Right, yeah.
Mix them together, you little baby bear.
But I think, like, and, we act like those are the same person saying both of those things all the time. But that's not necessarily true, the Star Wars fandom is, last time I checked, the planet.
Every single person on the planet,
So, if you as a movie creator, director, writer, producer, editor are responding to fan outcry, then you're gonna just get opposite fan outcry the next time that you make a movie.
And I think
that happens really intensely.
What I think is so fascinating about this movie, like, obviously, I don't want to spend like a huge amount of time talking about the like shitty bad faith takes that dudes on the internet have about this movie, or like all the weird like sexist, racist nonsense that like this movie has sort of just become a weird epicenter for. But like,
because we all know it. We all know it.
We've all heard it a bazillion times, and we've talked about it on this podcast so much just through our normal conversations. But like, what's so fascinating about this movie is that Disney did not seem to be anticipating that at all. Like, when this movie was coming out, there was absolutely nothing that didn't seem like Disney was just really fucking proud of this movie and really excited about it, Like, it really felt like they thought they fucking nailed it with this one. And they had, like, already approved Rian Johnson to make a whole other trilogy of movies, which doesn't seem to be happening anymore. It seems like he's making a Knives Out trilogy instead. But, like...
Explain about that, though.
Yeah, it's gonna rule. I would honestly maybe rather he make a Knives Out trilogy than another Star Wars trilogy. But, like, everything just pointed to Disney being like, we are blown away by Last Jedi. Like, we're so excited about how good this is. And then it came out and it just turned into this whole fucking thing that they clearly were not prepared for at all. Like, there are some movies where they kind of know it's might not go over exactly the way people want, and, like, the marketing kind of reflects that. But, like, Disney felt like they were all in on this movie in a way that just has a sort of sweet dramatic irony to it, looking back on it.
I mean, you could say that certainly, that like the overall divisive reaction certainly wasn't the most ideal thing overall. Obviously, you want more of one, more positive than negative. But I think even just from a financial standpoint, I mean, like, obviously this movie did not do Force Awakens numbers, because I think that was just, not only was it great,
never going to,
it just, the moment, it met the moment so well of having been, so long since we've had Star Wars. But it didn't do that shabby at the box office either. Like, for all the divisiveness that it had, and for, as many people kind of speculate about kind of the underperformance of Solo after that, box office wise. You know, Last Jedi still made a lot of money, which I think still at the end of the day was at least to some extent probably still affirming to them.
Right. Yeah, the only Star Wars movie of the trilogy that truly like underperformed, because when you look at like major film trilogies like that, there's kind of a trend, which is that like if the first one makes a ton of money, the second one's going to make slightly less money, and then the third one's going to make the most money, right? That was true of the original Star Wars, that was true of the prequels, that was true of the Lord of the Rings movies, even the Hobbit movies. Like there's sort of a trend you follow with these big like cinematic trilogies. And you know, Force Awakens broke the domestic box office world record. Which is it's so weird to think back to that moment in time, because it was the
I want to go back to that.
Yeah, but it was just like the kind of movie that like literally everybody went to go see. It was like filling out the census. It was like a civic duty. You know, like it just felt
there was a new Star Wars.
Yeah, it felt like it was your responsibility as a citizen to like take part in the social fabric of the country from then on. It was to know who Kylo Ren was, you know?
Yeah.
But like, and so obviously, you know, the second one wasn't going to do those numbers, but, and then the third one, by that time, between that and whatever controversies had arisen around Rogue One and Solo 2, I think there's, like, by the time the third one came out, even if it were good, I think that there was just a fatigue with the whole thing. Like, not even necessarily the movies themselves, but just the space in which the like, cultural discourse had gone. Like, we were all just sick of thinking about it and sick of talking about it. Like, talking about Star Wars had become so exhausting that people just didn't show up for the third one nearly as much. So that's the thing. Like, normally the third one makes the most money, but this one made the least money. It like performed the worst of the three.
It deserves.
Yeah. So it's just fascinating. It's like a true like upset, and I think that is sort of the reason that Star Wars is sort of rethinking their whole thing right now, because like they're like pivoting to TV like really hard. And there are still movies coming out. The Patty Jenkins Rogue Squadron movie, whatever that is still on the docket and should be coming out sometime in the next, I don't know, 4 years. Apparently, Patty Jenkins had like just signed on to do that movie like less than a week before they like announced it. Like the legend goes that Patty Jenkins like signed that contract, and the next day they took her out to the desert and made her talk about like airplanes or whatever for that weird little featurette they showed at the Disney Expo. And like was that. Like the movie had like not even come close to being started, but they just had Patty Jenkins be like, "Yeah, I'm thinking about planes a lot lately for this movie, and you know, I think the movie's gonna be a lot about planes, definitely, but like space planes, like Star Wars planes. I know what it's about." They're like, "There it is."
I know what Star Wars is.
Excited? I just think it's fine. No, yeah, looking at the chat, I still have not seen episode 9. And I know it inside and out, it feels like at this point. But I still haven't seen it.
But it's an experience.
I will watch it for the podcast. It is an experience. Yeah.
It's an out-of-body experience.
Here's what I'm hoping for. Here's the experience I'm hoping for when I watch Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah,
I think I've already like been through my grieving process with it, right? Like I've asked people about it so many times, and I know everything that happens in it, and I know exactly what it is that I don't like ideologically about it, right? And I've been through that process, and I'm not angry about it anymore, you know? And I mean, not that I am not angry about it anymore. I just mean like my passions aren't running high about it anymore. I could just sit back and be like, yeah, I know.
God, I wish that were me.
But like what I'm hoping is that like knowing that already, I could just be like, oh, yo, this movie actually has super sick and good production design and cinematography like all these modern Star Wars do. And that'll be the thing that carries me through, and I'll be like impressed by that. And I'll be like, sick. And I'll
ignore every other aspect of the movie.
Or just not be disappointed by every other aspect, because I know already.
Yeah. I think we kind of have to do, I think what we should do, this is my pitch.
Okay.
Where we will do it'll be a whole thing. It'll be like Star Wars Weekend. and we'll do a live commentary of Jackson watching the movie for the first time. Like commentary. Maybe we keep thinking of things to put on our Patreon and then we never put them on our Patreon, but like that would be a thing. Like you watching it for the first time, like commentary. Right. And then we will have the episode that like they're kind of adjacent, and then we'll have the episode where we talk it all out.
Right.
We unload about
I feel like that's something, I feel like that is uniquely something that people might actually pay for. I feel like when's Jackson gonna watch Rise of Skywalker has been a point of discourse among our fans lately.
Yeah.
Okay, but production design, we were talking about that.
Right.
This movie is probably number 1 of all of the Star Wars movies.
Really?
Absolutely, 100% is my opinion.
I think Force Awakens is kind of unbeatable in that way. I think Force Awakens...
Red Salt, Jackson! The red
salt,
Jackson!
Look. Force Awakens... Last Jedi...
I'm shocked!
has great ideas in it. The salt, that guy who says salt, the red room with the lightsabers, the tree with Yoda, like all that shit fucking rules. But I think the literal physical set design and the way that Force Awakens feels is like magic. I think this movie, like the integration of the CGI with the practical stuff is like a little bit less satisfying to watch. I think Force Awakens...
What about the first space battle, though?
It's good. It rules. It doesn't rule as much as the...
cried.
With the bombs.
And I cried.
Right.
Yes.
Rose's sister dying is fucking...
It's great. This is not a commentary on the quality of the story. It's just that I think that the experience of watching Force Awakens is like a full body experience for me. Like every moment of that movie, I'm just like, this looks perfect. Like this looks and feels real and whimsical. It's like being at Disneyland. It's like that sensation. It's just like
you can go to Disneyland and feel that too.
Yeah, it's like fully immersive and like magic and special to me. And I think Last Jedi just doesn't quite have that same amount of magic, I guess. I don't know. Do you feel that, Adeline?
I feel that. I think I agree. Like the ideas that we have of like the salt planet with the white and the red and like that red room, like all that stuff. Like they have amazing ideas and they execute them very well. But yeah, a lot of times we're just like standing in a ship and talking. As much as people love to dunk on when we go to the planet, to the rich people planet and have that thing. Like I do really like that, enjoy that story. I do wish they cranked it up to 11 just a little bit more. Because, like, the black and white is so fun, but, like, we're just in a building, and then we're just in jail. And then, like, when we're talking to people, we're just in a spaceship, you know? Like, the ideas that hit home are amazing. But, like, with Force Awakens, just, like, everywhere you are, you're like, oh, this is Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like, like, when we're in the Millennium Falcon, we're like, we're in the Millennium Falcon. And, like, when we're on Jakku, you're like, ooh, Jakku, we're on Jakku. Like, every place that you are just, like, has that, like, level of, like, oh, this is so cool.
Right.
Versus Last Jedi, where we have those moments of, like, oh, fuck, that's so cool. But then the rest of the time, we're just, like, in regular spaces doing things, you know?
And I think that, like, so, like, what I think is indicative of that is, like, on the casino planet, on Canto Bight, most of the guys are CG. Pretty much all the guys are CG. Like, that's the thing. Like, in the weird bar in Force Awakens, there are all these weird guys. And they're, like, made out of metal and styrofoam and rubber and whatever, you know? And you're like, who are these guys? I want to know everything about every one of these guys. But, like...
Yeah, I want all the stupid extended lore. I want all of it.
I want to know everything. That's, like, the magic of Force Awakens. Like, here's the best way to put how great Force Awakens is visually. Literally every character with more than like 2 seconds of screen time in Force Awakens is a Pop Funko. That's just the way it goes. I feel like the ratio of characters to Pop Funkos is much lower for Last Jedi, and I think that's indicative of something.
Are you talking about Funko Pops?
Yeah, Funko Pops.
I don't know,
Pop Funkos.
Pop Funkos.
I only have
Pimp Funkos.
Fuck Pimpos.
I only have a Jeopardy Funko Pops, so
Do you have an Alex Trebek Funko Pop?
I have 2 Alex Trebek Funko Pops, actually.
That's really good, actually.
I've
I've
one
only
from the
got
80s and one from now.
Ooh.
One from
Wait.
You have a Pop Funko
What?
from the 80s?
No,
Go from the
like,
80s?
It's Alex Trebek in the 80s as a
Okay,
Funko Pop.
okay,
of Alex Trebek's. Whoa. Yeah.
Alex Trebek's.
I said Alex instead of 80s, and I just had to go along with what my mouth was doing.
But yeah, but this is a weird tone to start off with, because Kezia doesn't like this movie as much, and Adeline and I love this movie, but we're the ones who are starting off weirdly critical of it. I don't know, whatever.
Disagreed with me. I don't know what to say.
I think
I was trying to start with my best foot forward.
Right, yeah. It's just because I think what it actually is, Adeline, maybe we should talk a little bit off mic. Kezia, do you want to just hang up for a second? Just hang up and we'll talk without you for just a second.
Is that real?
No.
Is that what we actually okay?
I was gonna do a bit, but you ruined it, so never mind. I was
I'm
gonna
sorry.
be like,
No,
Adeline,
I was gonna do
I was gonna be like,
From the top.
Okay, start over. Kezia, if you want to just like hang up for a second, we're gonna talk about you behind your back for a minute, okay?
Okay.
Adeline, I think we should kick Kezia off the podcast. Because I just don't like her very much.
Yeah.
We did ask her to be on the podcast really explicitly, but I regret it a lot.
Can we just like delete the text message, and do you think she would notice?
I mean, we could just...
No, just like gaslight her. Like, we never invited you to be on the podcast.
Right,
just like delete the whole conversation.
Elan, you can pitch in too.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts, Elan? Re Kezia being on the podcast?
Yeah, well, I mean, like, I don't know. I think the kid has some good traits, but I think
like the energy's worse, right?
Yeah.
A toxic work environment.
Hey, here's the thing: is you could never ask Ilan, because Ilan and I have a kinship about how much we love the How to Train Your Dragon series. It has not been respected enough in any award circles, so it's biased.
Maybe we just
see what I'm talking about? The toxic energy.
Yeah.
It's just
maybe we just split into 2 bespoke podcasts, like at the drive-in.
How to Train Your Dragon, and only How to Train Your Dragon. So, and then we'll start our Last Jedi podcast.
To continue talking about Last Jedi, this is all a bit, by the way. We like Kezia quite a lot.
I like Kezia very much.
But
great job.
The thing about Last Jedi is, because it's so controversial and because it's so polarizing, it feels like you sort of have to take the biggest possible stance, right? And like, and I'm not immune to that. I've spent a long time being like, fuck you guys! Last Jedi rules, best Star Wars movie! I don't think that's actually how I feel. I think it's like my it's like my 3rd or 4th favorite Star Wars. Anyway.
Yeah.
Like, but like truly, like, and as the years have gone on and as I've processed it that many different times, what I think this movie is I think it, like, all the things that it is at its core are incredible. I think, like, it has like a structure that is not as fun to watch the second time, because it's got like a really slow burn building up to where all of the coolest shit is in the last 60 minutes, right? And the first hour and a half of the movie is all about slowly building you up for all the elements to come together for the best shit ever at the end of this movie. But when you're watching it the 9th time, like I am today, that like first hour and a half, you're like, and they're making a plan. And
I just want to get to the coolest shit I've seen.
And there's, it's a little bit sort of transgressive in the sense that it's not structured like a big blockbuster like this usually is, where it's like they make sure to give you a fun, like, adventure action set piece every 20 to 30 minutes, Like, this movie goes a long time without one. It feels like really on purpose. So that the last hour of the movie can be 100% dope action set pieces,
Yeah, we just scoot them all to the back, and then we're like, one after another, let's go.
Right. And so that's just sort of my take. I think this is a movie that I have some problems with, but I genuinely love it. I feel like I love it unconditionally. It's like, but I don't even care.
Yeah.
It just rules. It kicks ass, and I love it.
Yeah. Everyone else is wrong. Yeah. My two big things that I really don't like about this movie is that the pacing is weird. This is one of those movies that's like genuinely the only way to watch this movie to have it be like perfection is to watch it for the first time in a crowded theater. Right. Like that was one of the best movie going experiences I've ever had. Like that and Endgame, I am so glad, or Infinity War, not Endgame. I am so glad that like I had the chance to like see those like basically in packed theaters, like just with other people, because that was so cool. Because that fucking moment when she drives the other ship through the ship and there's just fucking silence in this packed theater is maybe just like one of the space. It's just the coolest. It's so cool. And to have like it was like this ripple effect of like a moment of like silence, and then to have people be like, holy shit, like it's the coolest experience. It's the only way to do it. I'll never experience that again. But it was so good.
I saw
and then
go ahead.
And then the next time you watch it, you get all those problems where it's like because I know what happens and I know all the things that happened, this just feels so slow getting to the really cool parts that I want to watch.
When's she gonna jump into light speed into that Star Destroyer?
Like, exactly.
I'm ready for it. I want it to happen. When's Yoda gonna show up?
When's the stupid Yoda puppet gonna show up? He's gonna burn down the God tree.
Yeah, I saw this movie. I think I saw it 3 times in theaters, if not 4, maybe. This was during that Movie Pass time, so there's definitely a chance I saw it more than 3 times, but I remember 3 times explicitly. What, Kezia?
What a weird moment in movie
that
history.
Was, oh my god. Movie Pass might be coming back, by the way.
Wow.
They just like reactivated their Twitter account like a month ago, and everybody's been like, are you? Can we do this again? Can we go back to Movie Pass times?
I know. They were losing too much money with it.
Yeah. But anyway, but like that's just the thing. That's like the moment that will never not be burned into my brain. Is like that moment where she jumps into light speed and just hearing an entire audience of people being like, like just be like, oh my god, like just that. It is so insanely cool. It's like really and truly, I think one of the coolest, most exciting things that's ever been in a movie. Just on a purely like visceral, guttural, exciting level. And you can just hear
the sound design.
Yeah, like you can just hear that across the theater. And especially because it's so quiet, it allows you to hear the reaction that it elicits so clearly. And it's also, it sort of tweaks the reaction that you have because you're trying to subdue it, right? You're in a situation where you don't want to react because everyone will hear you and you'll be embarrassed, but you can't help it. Like, it is just so sick that it just comes out of you even though you're trying not to let it, you know? It's incredible.
My big second thing that I really don't like with this movie, I kind of despise how they handle Captain Phasma, because on all accounts she was absolutely just, let's do Boba Fett again. We did it. Like, it just, especially because of the deleted scene. A variation of how they kill Captain Phasma versus how they actually do it in the finished film. Because in that deleted scene, she like has a conversation. They have that moment where like Finn is like talking to her and like getting the troops around her. He's like, you don't give a shit about these people, and like all these stuffs. And then they like turn on her, and then she like shoots her commanding the people around her, and then attacks Finn. Like, it just has so much more oomph. It means so much more about her character. Like, I don't like because we have her established as like, she is literally the opposite of Finn. She is this person who has bought into the First Order. She's in the exact same position she is, but she has power and she is holding on to it as like tightly as she can. And she doesn't care about anything else. She only wants that power. And we see that because she betrays everybody. Like, they have a gun to her head and she'll do whatever they want because she doesn't want to lose that power. She doesn't want to die. So like, just kill her now because she had a cool costume, so now she has to die because she's Boba Fett. Just it rubs me the wrong way, especially, and I think it's just because we went to Disneyland in 2016, and to be at Disneyland when the new Star Wars movies were coming out was so much fun. It was either 2016 or 2018. It was just so much fun because you would just see little girls all over the park dressed up like Rey and Captain Phasma, and it was just so amazing and awesome to see little girl. It's such a little thing, but to see little girls in a costume where they weren't in a dress was just meant so much to me. Because like you can be Jasmine and wear pants, but like that's one of your only options. So these little girls,
for some reason, I completely thought you were just mispronouncing Phasma when you were about to say Jasmine. I thought you were gonna say Jasma. I'm sorry, I just continued.
Anyway, but like to see these little girls that could like look up to like these strong and complicated characters, because you see a little boy dressed up as Darth Vader all over Disneyland, but to like see little girls dressed up like Rey and Captain Phasma just like meant so much to me. And the way that as this trilogy progressed, it kind of ruined both of those characters for me. I feel like really just like dulled a spot of happiness that I had, you know? So like that's more of just like a personal thing of like I don't like how they treated both of these characters, so it just like super rubs me the wrong way. In this movie, where I think they handle Rey really well and Captain Phasma really, really poorly, and then we go into Rise of Skywalker where they treat Rey really, really poorly, but that's a whole other conversation. But yeah, it just, that's my other big problem with this movie.
Yeah, I get so frustrated because I feel like movies in the past, I don't know, decade have just been so, like, big blockbuster movies have been really afraid of writing female characters that are weak in any way, because then you're not being a feminist and you're gonna get canceled and blah 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 blah, which means that we're not getting well written female characters. We're just getting like super powerful, I'm always right, I've never been wrong, I have the moral compass of every philosopher of all time, and I'm
Wonder Woman.
But at least with Wonder Woman, like, she made a mistake and thought, like, she had naivety and thought, oh, well, if I end Ares, then that means that war is over, where she learned a lesson and had to figure out that, oh, maybe not all people do good things, but that doesn't mean that, like, life isn't still sacred and precious.
Right. This is where Kezia and I differentiate on this movie, because I think that is lame. I think it's lame, and I think you're lame, and here's why. Because
are we talking about Wonder Woman now?
We're talking about Last Jedi.
Do you want to say that they dress Rey like I dressed when I was in 5th grade? They give her capri pants, they give her Ugg boots, they give her those arm things.
Yeah, it's sick.
And space buns. That's how little girls dress. I don't.
She's lived in a desert her whole life. I think Rey gets a fashion pass.
Yeah, why
I
do you...
I mean, if anything, I think it's better that she's not fashionable. If she came out and she was like in a jumpsuit or whatever, I'd be like, this is fucking stupid.
I don't mean that. It's just like, why does she have to dress like a 5th grader in 2007? It's just weird to me.
I like it though.
Okay.
I like it.
So here's the thing.
It's not a big thing, but I just noticed on this viewing.
Rey's whole arc in this movie is about her just like obsession with like trying to figure out who her parents are. It sort of like reflects she serves as like a surrogate for the audience in that way, right? Where it's like you and the audience are sort of aligned on being like, who are her parents? It's this mystery. It feels like it's going to be something important. And Rey like feels deep down it's something important, you know? And that is like what drives her the whole time. And she can't, like, that desire for that is what pushes her towards like this like sort of thirst for like power and knowledge, this like original sin sort of thing. And when she finds out that it's nothing, it's disappointing, it's like, you know, which is a part of the whole thing of why a lot of people didn't like this movie. It felt like kind of a fuck you, but it kind of
about that.
It kind of should feel like a fuck you, I think. I think that's her flaw in this movie. I think that
But like, when does she face any consequences for that ever in the movie? Like, actually in the plot of the film? Because she's right when she goes up against Luke. even though I don't think she is, I think it is time for the Jedi Order to die, which is like my big fundamental problem with this film, is that it raises all of these interesting points. Like, maybe the Jedi Order isn't what we need, and we need to stop acting like the Force is just for these space wizards to yield. And maybe we need to reflect on how war is bad no matter what side you're on. And then they're like, just kidding, we're going to pull back on all of these things because the Jedi's not over, and Rey was right. And Leia's still alive, so we're gonna keep on fighting, even though the rebellion is also buying into all of these war machines. And sorry, you little slave broom boy.
Well, I think
we don't care about June Rise of Skywalker. Right. He doesn't exist anymore.
I mean, my response to that is that I think this movie is about. I think if I could like distill like the thematics of that element of it, it would be that cynicism is not a good excuse for inaction. Right? You can sit back and be like, yeah, it's just the corporations, man. And you could be right. Like, yeah, I mean, it is just the corporations, man, or whatever. But it doesn't change the fact that people are dying, like, right now. Like, that's what Luke falls prey to. He's totally inactive because he's like, yeah, I don't know, fuck it. I don't think the Jedi are cool. I'm disillusioned with the Jedi way, so I'm just going to hang out on this island. Even though, like, there's shit going on, like, right now that you are uniquely qualified to help with. And he's like, no, it's just the corporations, man. And he sits in his house and smokes weed and plays Rocket League until it's almost too late and somebody has to come wake him up, you know?
Not 100% in the right, but he's also not 100% in the wrong. Like, I think that it's illustrated by when you hear Luke telling the story about how the Jedi Temple got burned down and he leaves out key facts, but then you hear Kylo Ren talk about it and it's 100% different, but he also leaves, he's telling it from his perspective, and then you see the truth is somewhere in between. I feel like that somewhere in between is what makes this movie so interesting, and then at the very last second it shifts 100% in the just kidding, actually all the old ways are good and we just need to have more hope, and that's our problem. We didn't have enough hope and we need to keep relying on these old symbols and these old legends, and we can't progress at all and get past this endless cycle of violence. That's what
I don't think that's what the movie's saying at all.
No, I think it's saying
that's
that
that's what it does.
I think it's about It's not taking these things exactly as they were. It's taking these things and evolving them into something new. It's about literally like reforging these old ideas into something that is new and different in its own way. It's a new generation of people, a new generation of thinking. And I think
why the Last Jedi then?
Say again?
Why is Luke not the Last Jedi?
Because Rey's now a Jedi. I'm not saying that the Jedi have been exterminated. Right, but I mean, I don't know.
That was the point. Like, that's what Luke was saying.
Hold on. When we talk about Jedi, saying that all Jedi follow that code 100% is already flawed, because we already know that's not true, because Obi-Wan, we see so many times that, like, Jedi do not always follow that code 100% all the time. And I think even, like, that little shot of the end of, like, keeping the sacred text and stuff, I don't think that means, okay, we're just gonna do it the exact same way we did before. Right. I don't think that's what it means at all. I think it means that that's how it is in real life. You have to have a foundation to start off of, and you can look through something and be like, okay, here's where we fucked up before. Let's change that. I don't think the sacred text still being kept and not being burned down in the tree, because I like what burning down the tree represents of, like, we need to, the Jedi, we're deeply flawed, and keeping these monuments and doing all these things to, like, hold up this flawed system. We need to start over, so I really like burning down the tree. But I also like keeping the text, because it represents that, like, if we just start from zero, we're just going to make the exact same mistakes again. So, like, I don't think keeping the books means we're going to do it exactly the way we did and fuck everybody who changed anything. I don't think that's what it means at all. I think what it means is that we still represent the things that we meant to represent. We still are trying to represent this balance and this good and the Force, and we're still based in that, but we're going forward in a new way, which I think I think that's great. I think that's a great message for this movie.
Yeah, I think, you know, I don't know. I don't want to just repeat what Adeline said, but, like, talking specifically about, like, the fact that they call Rey a Jedi moving forward. They're like, I'm not the last Jedi. The Jedi Order will continue. I think when Yoda burns down that tree, he's saying, like, it doesn't matter. Like, none of this shit matters. And, you know, the Force is the important thing, and it doesn't matter how we do it as long as we're doing this the right way, as long as we're doing good and, like, the light side of the Force, like making sure that that's the way we move forward. The Jedi is whatever, who cares? Like our allegiance is like to the Force. And I think that using the nomenclature of the Jedi is just sort of it's a piece of tradition that she uses as she would move forward, I don't think they're saying like, and now we're going to keep doing Jedi stuff. I think it's more like, this is a new version of the Jedi. I think calling her a Jedi, because she's obviously doing shit a lot different than the prequel Jedi, I think, I think it's not necessary. This is what I'm trying to get around to. Is that he is acknowledging that this new thing can be what a Jedi is. The Jedi don't have to be this old, weird, stodgy thing that sucked from the prequels. This can be the Jedi too. Or you can say, I don't know, this is a whole new thing. Or you can say this very radically different thing can also be included under this umbrella of what we consider like a Jedi to be. This can be a Jedi now too. Anybody can be a Jedi. The Jedi is more important than this particular religious order from 150 years ago. That's what I think of it as.
Well, yeah.
Little slave boy is a Jedi.
That.
Yeah.
I agree with that 100%, but I think that the movie doesn't agree with that 100%, or it doesn't present it very well. Like, when Luke pitches the Jedi Order has been about vanity and hubris and the belief that like we are the only thing that's stopping the dark side. It discounts like I am one with the Force and the Force is with me in Rogue One. And when Rose's sister like uses the Force, she uses the Force at the beginning of the movie so that like she can accomplish these things. And the Broom Boy is not a Jedi. Like, it's the Jedi Order is very much like stuck in this belief that they are the gatekeepers of how the universe works. And I think that's a good thing to like dismantle and say that normal people are just as much in touch with like this spirit. I feel like that's what The Force Awakens maybe was kind of alluding to, that it's not just about this Skywalker clan. It can be opened up to everyone. And then I feel like it just gets thrown away at the very last second to be like, just kidding, we're actually going to hold on to these old structures and because we like them, and Rey is right and Luke is wrong because he messed up one time, but oh well.
Keisha, I think the movie does say that, because like keeping the text, I agree, does kind of send that message of going back to the past, but like we said, it doesn't have to mean that. But I mean, the last shot of the movie is that little boy that we have shown to like have the special connection to the Force and like this like hopeful future of like the things that this little boy could do that are good, like with his resistance ring. So I think the ending message of the movie is absolutely everybody has this connection to the Force that they can use for good. I think that's absolutely what the movie is saying.
But we're keeping this old order that led to a bunch
of... Well, we're not!
Orders.
That's what we just said!
Not keeping
yes, they are! Yes, they are!
In what way are they?
Because they are continuing on with this old system that didn't work.
In what way? Name an event.
The keeping the Jedi texts, Rey being trained as a Jedi in Rise of Skywalker.
Rise of Skywalker doesn't count because we throw away everything we do in this movie.
It's a trilogy. Like, that's what this movie is setting up for.
I mean, if your argument is that Rise of Skywalker is bad, then I guess I agree. Yeah, Rise of Skywalker is bad.
But that's part of it. Like, this movie doesn't exist in a vacuum. You can't imagine that it exists in a vacuum. And if it was setting those things up, it didn't actually. It was like, that wouldn't it be good if we did actually treat the Force like this? But we're not. We're actually just gonna throw that all away.
Keisha, if you're saying that Rise of Skywalker throws away everything that Last Jedi sets up, I 100% would agree with you. I do not think that is a failing of The Last Jedi. I think that's a failing of the Rise of Skywalker at the conception of Rise of Skywalker. What Rise of Skywalker was meant to be, Rise of Skywalker was meant to be a fuck you to The Last Jedi. So if The Last Jedi, all the things that they set up about morality and change gets thrown away, that's because of how much the Rise of Skywalker sucks.
I don't think it's 100% just The Rise of Skywalker, though. I think it is somewhat in The Last Jedi.
You look like you're thinking real hard, Ilan. What you thinking about?
Well, I mean, I've been kind of trying to track those two sides, and I can't say that I really sort of took that away, kind of what you were saying, Kezia, but like I think that what I kind of took in when I've seen that, because I think this is the movie of this trilogy. I know it's been a short time since the whole 3 have been out. I do feel like I gravitate to this to Last Jedi a little bit more out of all 3, just because for me, I like what you said earlier, Jackson, about Force Awakens sort of having that through line of magic sort of in every single moment. And I feel like for me, sometimes even if a movie isn't necessarily great, if there are moments of really interesting ideas that really connects with me, and that's where I feel like the magic for me is in this movie. But like to the point about the toxicity, I guess is what we're kind of saying, of the old Jedi Order like enduring. I didn't necessarily see that as like a thing where I was like, oh, I guess they're kind of still doing that, like at the very end. I didn't necessarily internalize that or notice that. But I did kind of feel more kind of what the other 2 of you are saying, which is that like this movie kind of had a journey of, which is what I do like about this movie, is that not only just with the Jedi Order, but there's a lot of things that they're about many different angles of the world that we're kind of taking a moment to deconstruct and sort of try to get new perspective on, with the hope that we can move in a different direction, I suppose. So that's sort of what I noticed on that. But I wish I had something a little more. I wish I had thought of that, like kind of you were talking about, Kezia, because I'm not. Because I wanted to add more to that, but that's kind of, for me, that's not something that I really noticed of the couple of the times that I've seen it.
I feel like
I do think.
Go ahead, Adeline.
That I was gonna say that's highlighted because that is what Kylo Ren's perspective is. Kezia, you're Kylo Ren. So Kylo Ren is saying that the Jedi Order sucks, and that
so Kylo Ren is the most consistent character of this whole series. I'm fine.
Not in Rise of Skywalker, but it's Kylo Ren's point is that the point of what Kylo Ren is saying is that he's saying that the Jedi Order fucking sucks. It's the worst. It's been used to do terrible things just as much as the Sith have. The Sith also suck. They've abused me my whole life, and they're terrible, and they're evil. And he's saying, let's burn both of them to the ground. Fuck this shit. We're out. Let's just leave this all behind. And what Rey is saying is that, like, saying that the Jedi and the Sith are the same and the same amount of bad just isn't true. Even with all the toxicity of the Jedi and how the Jedi have done evil, to say that they are exact same thing is not a valid statement. And she's saying there is still good to be fought for, and we should be fighting for that good, even if it's a dirty and complicated fight. Like, that's what Rey is saying versus Kylo Ren, who's saying we just need to get rid of all of it. And
I have a take.
He wants to get rid of the Sith, and he wants to get rid of the Jedi. That's what he wants to do at the end of The Last Jedi. And then we get to Rise of Skywalker, and he's a bad guy, and he wants Palpatine to be his friend. But what we're doing in The Last Jedi, I think absolutely that conversation is being had of the Jedi are bad. What do we do about it moving forward? And Kylo Ren is presenting that argument of we need to burn it all to the ground, and Rey is presenting the argument of there are things that there are values that we still need to be fighting for, even if we need to change the way that we're doing it.
Rey,
they're doing it. They keep doing the same thing.
In what way do they keep doing the same? They don't do anything after they figure that out. There are no things for them to do.
The movie ends after that.
Yeah. And whatever. Also, yeah, the whole they have Kylo Ren present the take, let the past die, kill it if you have to, and that they mean that. Like, that's what Rian Johnson made the movie hoping to do. Like, we need to revamp Star Wars and change it, and that's the take that they want you to have, but then they don't follow through with it. That's what all I'm saying.
That we need to reinvent Star Wars, not burn Star Wars to the ground, which is what Rise of Skywalker did.
But I don't know. I just think it's weird to say, let's make a movie about how we need to change things, and the past is in the past, and we need to learn from the past, and then actually keep doing things like the past, because
they don't keep doing things like the past.
Here's where the dissonance is. Okay. You were thinking of Rise of Skywalker like the second half of this movie, when we're trying to just talk about this movie like as it exists in a microcosm.
I'm super not though.
Okay, so they say, oh, we should move on, do a new Jedi thing that's different than the way we have done it. Roll credits. What do you keep saying?
When did they say that? They never say that.
With the boy who has the Force.
That, and then they're like, actually, Luke was wrong because he was cantankerous and old. And Rey's like, no, you're wrong. She literally beats him to the ground and is like, the Jedi aren't bad. We need to keep being the Jedi. And then she leaves the island and they never speak again. That's what happens.
No, she doesn't say we need the Jedi again. She says we need you to come help us because you're good at this shit.
Because he's a Jedi.
What?
That's they need him because he's this huge symbol.
It's a good fighter with a lightning sword.
Which is what?
They respect him as an idea, as a person, just because he was a part of this organization. I don't know why an endorsement of Luke Skywalker suddenly means an endorsement of the entire system of Jediism in the context of this movie to you.
That's what he represents.
But he's a person.
On the ideology, he doesn't like that ideology.
But that's how he's interpreted, and he knew that. That's why he left.
What's up, Ilan?
At the end.
Well, I was just gonna say I don't necessarily. I mean, just from how I've kind of like internalized it, I don't necessarily think that him, like, just from a, I guess you could say, military perspective, the fact that they want him to come help in the fight, I don't necessarily think endorses kind of the more systemic part, like, aspect of Jediism, I suppose. Mm-hmm. I didn't necessarily kind of see it like that. I think, Jackson, you kind of spoke to this earlier about the fact that, like, he has, like, just skills that they could use to be able to, like, help with this current just straight up just military conflict. That's kind of how I saw it, I guess.
So I think we've all laid out the way that we think about this. I think we can move on to another thing. I've got another point I want to talk about. I think that, I mean, like I said before, I think the biggest reason why this was so divisive was that it was just kind of the first giant monocultural, like, cultural phenomenon that happened in the proper Trump administration. I feel like that on its own was just bound to turn into a whole thing, like, one way or another. Mm-hmm. But I do think there are specific things about this movie that sort of led to that. I think there are... I was thinking about it a lot because it's impossible not to when you watch this movie now, but...
Yeah.
The second biggest thing, the other 15% of why it turned out this way, is I think all the stuff with Laura Dern in this movie. Because, like, even as I watch it, as many times as I've seen it now, and as much as I love this movie, that stuff has never fully made sense to me. Because it's just like this fundamental, like, miscommunication conflict, where it's like, none of this would have happened if Holdo had just said to Poe Dameron, there's a planet over there, that's where we're going, and you don't know about it, right? He would have been like, oh, sick. And, the justification in the narrative is that she's trying to teach him a lesson, right? She's trying to be like, you need to be better at following orders, so I'm expecting you to just follow this order without me having to explain it to you because I'm in charge of you, and that's a character flaw of yours, right? But and that just seems like bad leadership in this instance because it led to a lot of really bad things happening. But then she still gets to be like the cool, noble hero at the end, and it's like, I feel like she kind of sucks at being the captain is the thing about it. And like, so like that bugs me. That bugs me a little bit. And I feel like no matter how many times I think it through and try to figure out like what the motivation of her character is, I just can't quite ever get there. And I think that just that imagery of like Laura Dern being this woman who's just like constantly emasculating the guy that we all like and like talking down at him, and then being cool and good and noble at the end is like the thing that puts
there's like
men on the defensive. I think that is like the fundamental imagery that sort of spawns a lot of this.
Like, she's being super condescending to him the whole time,
right? And
not treating him like he is still like very high ranking and has done a lot for the rebellion,
right?
And at the very end, when she's talking to Leia, she's like, that one's a troublemaker. I like him. Like,
you're like, I don't buy that. I don't buy that you like him at all.
A really weird, just like a weird tonal shift to be like, the reason why she was upset with him and wasn't treating him like he deserved to know answers was because he defied the orders of Leia and got a bunch of people killed.
Right.
Like, so to be like, I actually like him, like he's feisty, is so strange.
It's weird. It's the whole thing's weird.
And especially because they do such a good job. Like, Poe and Leia's relationship, them talking and interacting is so good.
Yeah.
So good.
So
I think Poe has the best arc in this movie by far.
Right.
In my opinion.
Like his, when Leia just like fucking walks up and like slaps him, like it's hilarious because you know exactly why Leia's doing that. You know exactly why she's pissed. She's like, you killed a fucking bunch of people trying to be the hero, and he doesn't understand that because he's like, I was the hero. We won.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So like, it's a very clear conflict. You totally understand. I think then taking Leia out of that relationship and just replacing her with a female character we don't know. And we use weird. It's weird. It's bad. It's weird.
And like, it's just that it's like I said, it's like a miscommunication conflict, which always annoys me. It's like none of this would have happened if you had just said this. And like, I mean, like I said, the motivation is that she's doing it on purpose to try to teach him some kind of lesson or like illustrate a point to him. I guess.
Yeah.
But then, like, the second he shows up with a gun and is like, I'm taking over the ship, I'd be like, okay, not funny anymore. Here's what we're doing. Sorry. You know? Like,
lesson over. Yeah.
Why wouldn't you, in that moment, be like, sorry, okay, I was trying to teach you a lesson, but this is what we're doing. I should have told you. I'm, like, my bad. You know? I don't know.
Yeah.
And then later they're like, she did that because she didn't want you to know she was about to be the hero. And I'm like, I don't know. That's weird, too.
Well, because she kind of goes back on the thing that you said, where it's like, you were the hero and got people killed. I'm going to be the hero and actually do it right. And it's like, okay.
Right.
Yeah,
what are we learning?
Even just the whole thing would have better been punctuated if she had been like, you never know who is listening in, and I obviously can't trust you, and a leader needs to think, it further into the future than what are we doing right now, and needs to also be thinking about the people that are fighting, not just the fight. Like, that would have been like, oh yeah, sure. That, like,
it just all would have been better if like I don't know, my pitch would just be like, take that whole thing, make it so it's Leia instead, like don't have Laura Dern in there at all. It's sort of a weird
then you can't see
character.
Leia fly.
Yeah.
Leia fly.
Or just, you don't need a person, like, narratively, you don't necessarily need a person to sacrifice themselves. Be like, oh yeah, I set the computer to do that. Like, I don't think that makes it that much worse if it's not set up that way. You know, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, if you tell me that's what we're doing, then I'm fine with that. Yeah, it's Wreck-It Ralph rules. If you tell me that's what we're doing, I'm fine with it.
But then you don't get the fun. Like, it's one person sacrificing for what they love, and then when Rose does that too, for some reason.
It's good. Yeah.
No, that shit's good. Look, the whole, like, there's like an undercurrent in this movie of like, it is important to define yourself by your own ideals rather than by being in opposition to somebody else's, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think a lot of this stuff is that it sort of ties into the whole thing we were just arguing about for a whole long, so maybe I'm opening up a can of worms here, but like, it is sort of saying, like, I don't know how to put this into words necessarily. I mean, that's just it, right? Like, define yourself by your own stuff rather than the opposite of somebody else's. And I think that sort of ties into the whole moving forward versus restructuring something else or whatever. I don't know. This is a half-formed take that I can't put together. Check back with me in 15 minutes. Maybe I'll have a better
This is a
I
half-fake.
100% agree with what they're saying, is that we need to focus on saving what we love and not fighting what we hate. But I just think every time they execute it, I'm like, oh, why did you do it like that? Why are you doing it like this? I don't like it.
Yeah.
Like, when I see... I don't know. When I saw this movie, I've only seen it twice now because it struck me poorly, and I've been trying to figure that out for years now.
Right.
But there's just something about it that feels like insincere or like done out of malice. I don't know. It just feels strange to me, and I don't know why. But I can't help how I feel. This is how I feel. How do you feel?
I mean, look.
Well, I think
Finn's like, I'm gonna fucking drive into the laser. I'm gonna do it for the good of everybody. And Rose is like, that's not worth it. That's not what this is about. Like,
there'll be more battles. If you die now, you die now, and you'll never. Yeah.
Right.
And I think I would agree with you, Kezia, that I wouldn't like Rose's decision there if the punishment for her doing that was that she died. Then I would think this whole thing has been stupid and for nothing. Because then she literally does the thing that she goes against. But because she survives and then does nothing in Rise of Skywalker, because Rise of Skywalker is terrible. But because she doesn't die, there's a chance for her to have a continued story, for her to continue to fight for the people that she loves, the friends that she's made, the people around her. It's because Rose's whole thing is that she starts the movie with being a nobody that has had what she cares about taken away from her. She's had her sister taken away from her. Like, that's... the people that she loves, what she's fighting for, what she loves, has just been ripped from her hands. So she kind of, we're having the conversation of like, why is she here? And then we go to the casino planet, and it's like, she's here because she has these beliefs that she cares about, because of the struggles that she's been through in her life, because of the people in charge. Like, that's why she's here.
Planet.
Yeah, that's why she cares. That's why she's here. That's why she cares. And so to then be like, she learns to like love in whatever form of love we're talking about. She learns to love the people around her, like Finn and Poe and the commanders and BB-8 and all of her friends that she makes in the Resistance.
I love BB-8. I would fight for
we do love BB-8. Yeah, exactly. Like, she finds these things. She finds that love for the world again, kind of, after her sister has been ripped from her. So I think that moment of her being like, we have to fight for what we love for, or else it doesn't matter. I think that's a really good arc for her. I like how that finishes her inside this movie. I wish it wasn't the end of her arc completely, but we can't always get what we want.
Yeah, I think it's a good arc. I just think it's executed poorly. I just think it's a weird to be like, but that literally is what Finn is doing, is sacrificing himself for his friends. But that's fine. Well,
he's sacrificing himself because he's mad at Kylo. Oh, yeah.
But, like, maybe, like, how would you even know that? And also, I don't think those two things exist independently of each other as a human, like, emotion. Kind of, you know, it's like the dyad and hearing from Kylo and hearing from Luke. Like, you can be doing the same thing for multiple reasons, and I don't think that he was just like, revenge. Like, all he cares about is Rey. We know, it's all he talks about.
I think that a lot of, and another important thing in this movie, I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but between DJ and Luke both, there's this thing of like, don't let too much, I don't want to say too much nuance, but like, don't let, I'm trying to think.
Don't let the gray area get too big, kind of.
Yeah, don't let the gray area get so big that you are completely inactive, right? Like, DJ is like, oh, it's all the corporations, man. Fuck it. And then, like, just does whatever
making money,
wants,
I'm surviving.
and, like, makes the world worse as a result. Like, demonstrably makes everything worse, right? Even though to him, he doesn't fucking care. It's like, oh, whatever. Like, it's all a fucking game, man. And, like, that's, in a certain way, that's kind of, like, the flip side of what Luke's doing, right? Because he's like, oh, the Jedi, the Sith, like, just fuck that. Like, I'm gonna peace out. And they're like, no, there's, like, shit going on right now. Like, regardless of what you think about the Jedi, the Sith, whatever, us, your friends and family, are fighting in this fight right now, and we need your help to come and do something, please. You know? I think that is what's more important than the tension between sort of, I don't know, I guess you could argue, like, reformation versus, you know, tearing something to the ground, which is something we talk about in a lot of different facets of life these days. You know, I think more than that, it's like, these are big, complicated decisions, but you gotta do something, though. There are particular things that you can look at and you can be like, yeah, that deserves my energy, definitely. Focus your energy there. Help out your friends, tease Kylo Ren, and help them all escape and die. You know?
Yeah.
We all get what we want that way. He said he went to the island to die, and he did that.
Exactly. And then DJ does the exact opposite. He's like, oh, I don't know. And then he does the fucking total wrong thing. It continues to not give a fuck and fucks everybody over and doesn't have any friends and is a sweaty space weirdo forever.
Any friends?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, I'm trying to remember what he says exactly when he's on the ship. I think for me, that's kind of the that was the moment when I was watching the movie for the first time when he's like going through like, oh, look at this. They're like selling weapons, military industrial complex, all that kind of thing of just like, oh, that makes sense. Like, because for me, the crux of seeing that movie for me, and I think why it sort of stuck out to me as like one of the more notable, probably favorite of mine that I've seen, is just like the fact that it dedicates moments like that throughout the movie to like kind of take a moment to, like I said, like deconstruct things about the world and stuff like that. I'm trying to remember what he says exactly when he was like don't choose don't choose a side, just like stay out of it, or just like fight for yourself or whatever.
Don't pick a side, don't play the game, something like that.
Yeah, because that's all fine and good, but and I think this is more so why Rey, in reaction to Kylo's whole like join me in the middle pitch later, it kind of, is so averse to that, is because I think that she's very keenly aware of like, this isn't just some inconsequential like partisan thing. Like, this fight actually has stakes, and I don't personally feel like I'm somebody who, if I can make an impact, should willingly leave. And so like DJ's POV is interesting because like he's trying to project a sort of like you're saying, all the corporations, oh, it's just whatever.
It's all the corporations, man.
Yeah, it's all just whatever. But he he doesn't, he ends up finding himself in a position where he just decides to add to that fight in a negative way. Like, he really kind of like
prosper off of it.
Yeah, he really shows himself to be a pretty big hypocrite in what he chooses to do within that sort of ideology that he projects, which I think was kind of an interesting thing to see.
So this movie has kind of a new twist on an old classic in terms of bar guys. Like, we're used to like sweaty, weird bar guys, but this time we're like, what if there were like classy bar guys? What are your favorite classy bar guys in this movie?
I like the slot machines that look like BB-8, just so that we can put coins into BB-8 and they can shoot them at a guy later. That's my favorite.
Yeah, that way you can sell piggy bank BB-8s. And it'd be like, ooh, accurate to the movie.
It's like, oh, piggy bank BB-8 can be used as a weapon.
Shoots quarters at you at mock speed.
Yeah.
There's this guy, little man that's just wearing an actual tuxedo, like an Earth tuxedo.
Yeah, right.
And he's playing Earth blackjack and Earth dice.
Right.
Like, it's all.
No, he's got funny space dice.
Yeah.
No, but like the cards have like hearts and aces on them.
Do they?
Yeah.
And they're cards. Like, it's just like they couldn't have like a 30-minute brainstorming session. Like, what kind of space games do you think they'd be playing up there? The space ones, but not the same. Like, there's like a roulette wheel.
Right.
It's all the same names, man.
That's what I'm saying. I would love that whole time that we're on the casino planet if we just like cranked it up to 11, because it just seems like the only thing that's like weird about it is that we make the cops have fun capes so we don't have to actually talk about police brutality. And then we have the instead of horses, it's like funny little big ear alien thingies. Like, that's like basically, and then the rest it's on Earth. We're in an Earth casino watching Earth.
Don't call it a casino. Call it something else.
It's just, I just want them to crank all of that stuff up to 11. Just like, even if they just like only did it aesthetically, I would have been like so much more happy with that scene. Because like, I do kind of love the guy that they're supposed to meet with like the red lapel. Like, I think, because he's just like, he doesn't fit. He just seems like such like a classic, and we play like the turn of the century like James Bond music when we like see him. Like, it's just rules. Yeah, I think it rules because it just doesn't fit at all, but it also doesn't fit within what they're doing down here. Like, I like that it doesn't fit. I wish that the aesthetic was just like cranked up to 11.
I don't know. I think it's fun. I think it is just the right amount of odd to like feel like it's breaking you out of this world. It feels like it's really intentionally shaking you a little bit, being like, this is weird and different, and you're not used to seeing this side of Star Wars, but it's there, you know? Like, it's like, this feels weird because it feels weird to the characters. It doesn't seem like the kind of thing that would happen, but it is, and that's important.
Yeah, I think the execution is bad.
No, that's why I think it's good. I think the execution's good in that way. I also just
takes, if it tonally takes out of the movie and you're like, this doesn't feel like it should be in this film, and then that I feel like it's wasted. Like, I think that the way that it impacts the characters is good, but if it makes you, the watcher, be like, oh, that was weird, now I can't focus on this,
but
then what's the point?
Consider
the coconut,
but also consider it doesn't, and fuck you. Maybe. Okay,
but it did for me, so.
But, okay.
But.
Are we going to take a vote then? Let's take a vote. All right.
No.
All in favor of.
I did a podcast with my sister, and we took votes on things, you would lose all the time.
Okay.
Although I feel targeted.
I am just catching Alcy saying "movie pass?" in the chat, and I might have to dig in on this for a little while.
Later, do it later.
Maybe at the end. God, I miss movie pass so much. Okay.
Good time.
They set it up. Basically, they set it up poorly, and you got to watch the movies for very cheap, and then they realized it was too cheap.
Yeah.
You're paying like $10 a month to watch endless movies. It's crazy.
And they were like, "Oh, this was bad. This is a bad idea."
Ilan, do you have any hot Last Jedi takes that will get the fire off of my back?
I mean, well, here's what I'll say. I did think about this when I was like reflecting on the movie to prepare for this. I remember one really kind of common conversation, and maybe this won't be so much of a hot take because it's been so many years that the conversation has evolved a little bit in this way. But one of my big problems with the reaction that I was kind of having this conversation with my friends at school at the time was like just the general scapegoating of like, oh, Rian Johnson just ruined Star Wars. And I remember one time, like, I didn't necessarily have anything to really like really kind of take down that argument, but I did say, like, listen, I think you might have to amend the way that you're saying that, because think about this, like, Rian Johnson should not be the only person that you're scapegoating for this failure of a movie that you think is, because, you know, and I think generally, and this is what I mean by the kind of evolution, because I think that a lot of people now, especially with all three of them out, have kind of been able to look at the progression and been like, yeah, this sequel trilogy is mixed at best in terms of like how cohesive it is together, obviously. And even just the general talking point of like, they really didn't have a plan when they set out to do this, and it shows. And I think that's arguable, and so I think that is a reflection of how it's evolved to include kind of the studio as a whole, kind of just from that perspective, not really having the best sort of like forward thinking about like you know,
it's
playing
actually just Kathleen Kennedy.
Like, yeah, just playing chess with whatever. And and there are some sorry, but I was gonna say too is that like at the time I was saying like, well, I think the issue more so than you thinking Rian Johnson ruined Star Wars is the fact that that, you know, just taking, you know, your sentiment, the person's sentiment that the studio enabled, you know, somebody who they were able to see the material and they were able to probably do the math about like, wow, this is really different, or like, how is this going to set up a third movie? Like, that kind of thing. So I think at that time I was thinking like, man, like you have to at some point also say, man, the studio really should have taken a closer look at this and thought about that, you know, before this happened, arguably from that standpoint.
I kind of bristle at the thing, like they should have had a plan. No, sorry, I shouldn't have said that in a goofy voice because that's what you just said, Ilan, and I don't want to mock you in front of your face. But like,
I think they should have had a plan, so I'm with you, Ilan.
Well, I don't know. I don't think you need a plan. I think that because I mean, first of all, like the original movies didn't have a plan.
Yeah.
Most movies don't have plans. And, you know, I think we're sort of tainted by the whole Marvel Studios Kevin Feige thing, where it's like, you know, it's not, obviously he doesn't have a plan forever, where he's like, okay, so the first 2 Thor movies are going to be kind of bad, and then the third one, we're going to destroy everything, it's going to be kind of cathartic. Bad. Right.
Yeah, the second one would be really bad, right. And then...
I don't think they needed to have, like, here are all 3 scripts, and we have everything mapped out already, but if you're not going to have a plan, like, you need to have a communication team that wants to tell a cohesive story.
What I'm getting to is that, like, I think we're kind of tainted by the whole Kevin Feige thing, where it's like, clearly he's playing, like, 5 steps ahead at all times, and he's
playing 4D chess.
This web of, like, all the things he wants to do. But what I'm saying is, first movie works great. Second movie, I mean, you know, according to us, according to Adeline and I and Ilan and a little bit to Keisha, second movie without a plan, you're just playing within the space, and it works out good. It, like, makes sense and feels intentional. And all of us know what we want to happen in the third one. We know what a conclusion would be. I don't think the problem with Rise of Skywalker is that they didn't have a plan. I think that these 2 movies, even if you don't know what's going to happen from the beginning, these 2 movies as they exist tee you up for a lot of interesting things that could work into a satisfying conclusion. I don't think the problem is that there's no plan. I think the problem is just that they dropped the ball. They blew it. You know? I don't think you need to
play in the space that other people have established, kind of.
And, like, my point is like, we all talked about what we wanted from it, what we wanted it to be, our own ideas of what it could be, and that's what it is. Like, it can be a round robin sort of thing where everybody's playing off the last thing that somebody did. I don't think you need to have like a narrative structure for 3 movies before you start. That's just what I think.
I don't think that either, but I do think that if you like, the parts of this movie that I like are the parts that I'm pretty sure came from Rian Johnson. Like, yeah, get rid of Snoke. Screw him. It's more interesting if Kylo Ren is the one who's taking over things. Like, that's cool. Like, I like that Luke dies in this movie. I think that's right. I think that just screw him. That's not true. Luke is still my favorite Star Wars character.
Yeah, like him very much.
Like, those parts are interesting. Like, Poe's character arc I really love, and I like Captain Phasma. It sucks that she was treated so poorly, but he was like, you know what? People aren't gonna expect this. Bam! Like, ooh, there's stakes in Star Wars.
Right.
Like,
yeah, people die. Yeah.
And then, like, being like, all right, here's a watermelon. Like, throwing it down to home plate. Do with it what you will. And they're like, what if we actually just left the baseball stadium and we hate you? And
Donkey Kong for 5 hours. Yeah.
And Aragorn, I'm looking at you in the chat saying, like, Lord of the Rings is very intricately and delicately planned out. And I really like the Marvel movies too, like I was talking about, that have this, like, galaxy brain plan that's set, like, 5 years ahead of us at all times. I don't think I'm saying that you shouldn't have a plan. I'm not saying it's bad to have a plan. I'm saying it's just 2 different ways to do things. And I don't like it feels like a logical fallacy to say that this thing didn't work out because they didn't have a plan, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I think, honestly, the key component to any project where you have multiple people individually work on something is communication. Because, like, with that planning it out, you have communication. You have everybody agreeing to a plan and doing a plan. And then with scenarios like this, where you don't necessarily have a step-by-step plan, but people are communicating on some level, like, Last Jedi is communicating with The Force Awakens on some points. They're seeing ideas, they're exploring more things, they're playing in the space.
Totally.
Yeah,
we're having a conversation.
Also, I forgot to say that. They should be nobody.
Yeah, that's great. I fucking love that. I love that race parents are nobody. It's so good.
Yes. Yeah. Kylo Ren is correct. Who's Palpatine? Never heard of him.
I don't fucking care. Yeah. So, like, they're playing in the same space. They are communicating with each other in this weird kind of, like, through time communicating with each other. But then you have Rise of Skywalker that just refuses to communicate.
Right.
Because they are making a point, basically, not to communicate, because they're trying to give a very specific audience what they want, and what they want is not what the other 2 movies wanted. So it's like that severing of the connection. We don't want to have a conversation in order to build something. You're burning everything down and starting anew.
Right.
So it's just, yeah, I think communication is what's key about that. It's not necessarily the plan, it's the communicating and doing something together, which is just what they tripped at the finish line and weren't able to do that.
This is going back a little bit in the conversation when Ilan was talking about scapegoating. I just had found something away that I want to get back to, which is just like,
yeah,
there's this like unique nerd culture thing where like they always need to blame somebody when they don't like something, and it becomes like a personal vendetta. They have like a personal grudge against somebody.
Ryan.
Well, right. Todd Howard. Just Todd Howard in general.
Yeah, kind of Todd Howard too, but it's like, I was so floored by this. A few days ago, Avi Arad, I don't know how to pronounce his name exactly, Aviarad, Avi Arad, I don't know, was trending, who's like this classic Sony Pictures Marvel guy. He's been a comic books guy for years. He's been a film guy for years. He's been executive producer and producer on Marvel projects since the 90s. He's like an old guard superhero movie guy. And there was some interview or something where it came out where he was like, yeah, and it was my idea to do this, that, or the other. I don't even remember what it was specifically, but I guess something that some people don't like about the Marvel Spider-Man movies. He was like, yeah, Avi Arad was the guy who said he wanted Peter Parker to be Tony Stark's mentor or something. And like people were like, yes, this is the confirmation I've needed all along. Thank you, Kezia. Like, fuck Avi Arad. He sucks. He fucked it all up. It's always been him all along, and he blows, and we shouldn't, like, stop this. And it's like, why does it need to be somebody's fault? It takes a lot of people to make a movie. And,
yeah,
like,
exactly.
Never mind the fact that so often it becomes Kathleen Kennedy. It becomes somebody who's not a white guy. It becomes somebody encroaching on your territory and ruining what you like, somebody from the outside. Never mind that it happens to be, just so happens to be that coincidentally.
Ghostbusters, yeah.
Ghostbusters.
But like, I hate that. I hate that it's like, oh, this person fucked it up and we hate them. And I've got like a grudge against this person. It's like, fuck off. Like,
well, it's just not based in reality at all. We're just mad and we want a target that we can point at. It's classic human behavior. We're mad and we're gonna, you did it, it's your fault. But I hate the mentality of ruining things because it's not true. Like, as much as I hate Rise of Skywalker and I jokingly say it ruined Star Wars, I don't actually believe that it ruined Star Wars, because you can't ruin Star Wars. That's not how it works.
Right.
It's like, first of all, we've ruined Star Wars before. Nobody liked the prequels. Like, are you trying to tell me that didn't ruin, like, the original Star Wars still exists. You can still, like, Rise of Skywalker didn't ruin Last Jedi. I still love The Last Jedi. I still have The Last Jedi. Rise of Skywalker can do whatever it wants. It's not going to ruin anything. Like, I just hate that mentality. Like, oh, they ruined Ghostbusters. It's like, you still have Ghostbusters. There's nothing that's ruined about it. I don't know why people say that. It's like this weird, like, it's my content and I love it and I don't want anybody to change anything about it. And it's like, you can believe that all you want, and you're gonna be right. Nobody's gonna go back and re-edit Ghostbusters to have women in it and delete all the other copies of Ghostbusters. Like, like, you're always gonna have that thing that you love. So someone trying out something new is basically never a bad thing, because like, if they try something new and it sucks, like, that's a big bummer, but it's not the end of the world.
Yeah. And especially,
like, oh well, like, I guess I'll watch the one that I like. Yeah.
And it especially irritates me when it's like a massive, like, cultural property like that. If it's like Spider-Man or Star Wars or like Batman, and it's like, oh, and like every single movie, people attach like worldwide stakes to it. They're like, this is so important. And if this Batman movie sucks, Batman's ruined forever. It's like, this is not going to be the last Batman movie. Like, what are you talking about? Like, we're going to be making Batman movies until the sun burns out. Like, there will be a better one eventually. There's going to be one that you like probably sooner than you think. Like, what?
With Edward Cullen.
With Robert Pattinson. Or even if you hate that, if you're like, I can't believe they're putting Robert Pattinson in Batman. They're going to ruin Batman forever. Why does it look like that? Why does he have eye makeup that sucks? Batman's ruined forever. It's like, no, Like, wait, like 4 years. There'll be a new guy playing Batman. We'll make another Batman. Or, I don't know, even if that wasn't true, read a fucking comic book or something. Like, this isn't everything.
Just pick... Yeah, exactly. It's like, you can't ruin anything. Like, you can be upset about something and not like what they do. And, like, I feel like there's more of an argument if it's like, if there's something inherently like problematic with their interpretation, but like even then, like that can just suck and you will still have the original thing. Like if they like, I don't even have an example, but like, I mean, we talk about like the reboots that CW does all the time. Like, oh, they're going to sexualize the Powerpuff Girls. It's like, that sucks and is inherently bad. But at the end of the day, they're not ruining the Powerpuff Girls because you'll always have the Powerpuff Girls. They're not ruining Archie Comics because you'll always have Archie Comics. Like, even if what they're doing is inherently bad.
Archie Comics, actually, so...
As if Archie Comics could be ruined. Hey, we're not ready. You guys aren't ready for this conversation.
Somebody.
Archie Comics suck ass. Like, they're not cool to read.
No, you're gonna isolate the 50-year-olds who are listening to this, Jackson.
My grandma at the grocery store always getting the Archie comics.
If you busted out an issue of Jughead lately, not cool. It's not like, ooh, what's he gonna get up to this week?
Ooh. I wonder what Sonic's gonna do in the Archie comics.
What I was gonna say too is, I think, and Adeline, you kind of spoke to this really well before I was even gonna mention it specifically. But yeah, I do think though that like, I'm not gonna really endorse it, but I will say that I understand people who maybe feel a type of way about their dislike for Rise of Skywalker because. And this kind of goes to what you said, Adeline. It's not a remake per se. I can understand the remake. For example, all the outrage about like the way that Disney's casting like live action remakes, and it's like they're not ruining Little Mermaid or Beauty and the Beast or whatever, because you still have the old version that you presumably already like. So you still have that. But I can understand the standpoint of, man, they only had one chance to like nail the ninth or the final movie in the Skywalker saga and they blew it. Like I could see that. Like this isn't really a great comparison, but for me, what I'll say from my experience is that like I love the third How to Train Your Dragon movie. I wish that they had expanded on more. And so there's that sort of like bittersweetness to it, but like there are still moments where I look at it and like, this is a really effective third movie. I just wish there was more of this on my laundry list personally that could have been there. And they'll never get to go back presumably and like have a second try at it. You know, so but I mean, I'll still, agree with Jackson in that like it's not the end of the world, but I can understand if somebody feels or is predisposed to feel a certain elevated level of
I guess there is a different kind of conversation to be had about a trilogy like where it is the sequel and the sequel is bad. I guess I understand that more. I guess if you could say, I still don't agree with the point that it ruins Star Wars because that's everything before it. But to say that they ruined the 9th Star Wars movie is very fair to say. Like I don't. Like I totally see what you're saying. They messed up their chance.
I think that's just like extra weight because like you want it to be good and you want to like it. And, like, especially knowing that Carrie Fisher passed away and, like, there's no trying again. There's no starting over. There's no do-overs. Like, there's no Snyder cut, and we can't change it. And that kind of sucks if you are left with, like, oh, I didn't like this. Like, I actually didn't like it, and I want to, and I don't know how to rectify that. And people will just be like, Kathleen Kennedy, Rian Johnson, you're the reason why. Where it's just, like, you didn't like this movie and there's like a part of your subconscious that knows that, oh, well, there's like not going to be another like moment for Princess Leia to redeem that for you.
Right.
And that's hard. That's tricky.
Right.
Yeah, no, I just
sparked some backlash in the chat about our comments about Archie
about
comics
the Sonic comics. Well, here's the thing.
The Sonic comics, that wasn't what I was talking about. You brought that in, Adeline, so I'm going to direct that at you.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know a lot about the Sonic comics. I do know that it's a totally, like, not even the same characters as the video games. Like, totally its own thing, doing its own thing. So if you want to be like, yeah, the Sonic comics are good, Feel free, because I got no clue. I just know they're weird as heck.
Right. I remember watching the animated show a bunch when I was younger. I don't remember a ton about it. I just remember it was really cool. But yeah, I didn't know they had comics though. That's cool.
Yeah, no,
that's like where like Sally the Squirrel, stuff like that. Yeah.
Sally the Squirrel.
Well, that's because she's not in the video games, but she's in the comics.
Are you getting confused with the Animaniacs?
No, Sam. No, that's the girl. Is she a squirrel? One of them named Sally, and she wears a blue vest. Is her name Sally?
I don't know.
Sally Squirrel. That's her name. Is it Susie?
I don't know.
What's that character's name? She's a squirrel. She's got that weird like mohawk hair, and she's got the blue jacket, like the blue like vest jacket, and she fights her clone on one of the comic book covers. That's all I know.
Is it like Squirrel Girl or something? I think I know of like a character named Squirrel Girl.
Yeah, okay, hold on. Squirrel Girl is a Marvel superhero. She's my favorite. That's different. I know who that is.
That's what I thought, yeah.
Sally, Squirrel, Sonic.
I read a couple Archie
Sonic
comics,
the Hedgehog.
like when I was younger, and I kind of dug them. So that like I remember that when they started Riverdale. I haven't been watching. I haven't been watching Riverdale. Once they kind of got really like supernatural thriller in season 3, I was like, okay, I'm out. And then I just haven't really tuned back in. Right. I remember those first 2 seasons were pretty interesting.
I stand by what I said about Archie comics. Like, I mean, look, there's some novelty to them. It's quaint. That's the adjective I would use to describe Archie comics is quaint. That's what I'll say.
I think they have some edgier like runs of like, you know, flash forward to them as adults, which I kind of think is sort of the tone the show is trying to do now, but I don't know.
Well, there's like the new like actual comic books with the Archie gang. That's relatively very new.
No, yeah, like the Mark Waid reboot from like 5 years ago kicks ass. There are 6 issues of Archie from I think 2013 with Mark Waid and Fiona Staples that are great. And there's a long Chip Zdarsky and Ryan North run on Jughead that's great. There's like a modern Archie comics comic book reboot that I am a huge fan of. But the like classic newsprint Archie, I stand by.
Well, but while that new comic book was coming out, they were still doing the old comics because I would still see them at the grocery store. Are they still doing it, or are those just ancient copies at the grocery store?
No, those are all like reprints. I think there's a certain industry for like taking old Archie comic books and reprinting them into those like thick like grocery store
little
books
booklets
that are like this thick, and it's like Archie's Greatest Adventures or whatever, and you're like, oh,
Veronica and Stacy, best friends who are weirdly in love.
Who's the jock?
Oh, I know.
No,
Reggie,
not Archie.
I think.
Oh, Reggie. That's the poll I was looking for. Like, what's Reggie gonna get up to this time? Maybe Josie and the Pussycats will show up for a crossover.
Ooh. Maybe Casper the Ghost will show up.
Sabrina the Teenage Witch is. I love Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Have you seen that edgy Have you seen that edgy theory online that's like, Casper the Ghost is actually Richie Rich? I want to say
I refuse to apply any edginess to any of these properties.
Well, I want to say it's absolute.
Says Kezia Rhodes, Riverdale stan.
No. I'm not a Riverdale stan. I am a Sabrina the Teenage Witch stan.
Okay.
And not Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. I'm talking Melissa Joan Hart. I'm talking 90s hijinks. That is what I'm here for.
Have you guys seen that one? Have you guys seen that one like kind of that one live action Casper movie? It's kind of a bummer.
Oh,
where like I'm pretty sure like Casper gets reincarnated, but then like sacrifices himself because like he fell in love with like the girl and her dad that had moved into that mansion or whatever. So he's just right back to square one.
That I'm not alive anymore, and I wish I was still alive. I wish I knew how I died.
Yo, be
kind of a bummer that I'm a dead child.
You're like, wow, this is what a fun ghost story.
It's just a bummer. It's just a real bummer.
Yeah, you can't think about Casper too hard, or it's just inherently sad. But the like edgy theory was like Richie Rich and Casper are the same guy. But here's the thing: Richie Rich and Casper have cameos where they hang out like 2 good little boys, all the time. So checkmate, atheists. What do you got to say about that?
Same company.
I honestly don't think that Casper is that sad because it's honestly my dream to be a ghost. Like, I just think it'd be so fun to move stuff around and like freak people out, but maybe not that much.
Is it your dream to be 7 years old forever, though?
Well, no.
Is it your dream to die tragically as a 7-year-old?
No. I'm just saying, I think being a ghost would be fun. Okay. I just think it would be
That's
fun.
fair.
Maybe not forever, but like for a good solid 25 years, I think it would. What a romp!
All right.
You could be
right.
like
25-year-old ghost.
You could be like, someone I love can't find their phone, and then you'd be like, here you go,
old enough to rent a car
and help them at the same time. That's the dream.
All right.
That's the dream.
Fair. It's fair.
As far as The Last Jedi goes,
yeah, the movie.
I feel like, I don't know about you guys. I feel like I've made my way through what I wanted to say here today.
Let me check out my notarinos.
Rose is good, and if you think Rose is bad,
Rose is good.
You can leave.
You're just a racist, and you're just sexist. No. Like that's.
I really think. Here's what I'll
don't
say.
Be mean to Marie Tran. Don't be mean
of course
to her.
not.
Yeah, don't bully her.
Doing talking at the beginning sucks. Hate that line. Not funny.
Doing talk.
Don't do that.
Oh,
like,
yes.
Yeah.
That's like a big cringe line, which is I think 100% the biggest reason there was backlash about her whole character, because that line is the most cringy, like John Green ass relatable tween dialogue.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, no.
I just think it's kind of weird.
It's like
I do feel
it's like
sometimes
the worst of Joss Whedon and John Green all rolled into one.
Yeah. I do feel like sometimes we do kind of fall into that pitfall. There's a few times that we do it. That's the main one. The I want to put my fist through this whole town one is kind of up there.
Right.
Yeah,
it's like
it's a good sentiment. I wish she would have just said it better. Like I know why she says that. I like that she says it. I wish she just didn't do this and put her hair behind her ear while she said it. You know,
it's a little bit of a Sandy line.
Like
she's like, I just wanna.
It's coarse.
I wanna run away.
Everywhere.
That's a good.
I wanna run away from this town.
I feel like you've just codified something, Kezia, which is describing something as Sandy, which I like.
It's
quite
Sandy.
A lot. Yeah.
It's just I totally get your sentiment. Is that you don't like sand because you were a slave in the desert for your first 12 years of life, but like, why did you say it like that, bro? I get it, but like, don't say it like that.
Why'd you say it like that? It's really good.
And like, you know, at the end on the salt planet, fucking rips and all the red and the white. And okay, I want to talk about the editing. Not in like the very end on the salt planet, but like in the moment where it's like the three things, like Finn and Rose about to be executed, and Holdo about to blast through the Star Destroyers, and Kylo Ren and Rey fighting over the lightsaber. Happening like intercut in between. It's not like little pieces of scene. It's like all happening at once, cutting back and forth between, until the three big things all happen at exactly the same time in like one storytelling moment. That is so good. Like some of the most immaculate like action storytelling I've ever seen. That like I'm telling you, like from that set of sequences all the way through the Salt Planet, anytime I watch this movie, I'm just like on my feet. I'm just like, yes, like yes, do it, get him. Like it is so satisfying, and like all the shit with Luke Skywalker on the Salt Planet, and they blast him, and he gets off, and he just the little understated shoulder brush. Oh, it's so good, and he fights Kylo Ren.
So good.
And the foxes, the little ice crystal boys,
the critters,
the crystal critters that teach him how to get out of the cave. God, it rules. God, like the last 40 minutes of this movie are immaculate. There's absolutely nothing I would change about them.
The fight between Kylo and Skywalker, where Kylo Ren can't hit Luke, or he'll know that Luke isn't actually there. Right. So it's just Luke fucking flexing that Kylo Ren never touches him that entire fight, because then he would know that he's not there. But so he's just fucking damn, it's good.
Subtle cut to where like you see Kylo Ren's feet slip, and at first you're like, "Ooh, that's just a cool shot because of salt." And then you see Luke's foot like not do that, not agitate the salt at all, and you're like, "Oh, maybe it's just like as a first time viewer, you're like, oh, he's just like really in tune with the Force,
really
like
good.
He's barely even touching it because obviously he's got to be here. Like, why wouldn't he not be here?
Yeah, why wouldn't he be here?
And then you're like, oh my god, he's not there! Like It's so good.
A French kiss, amazing.
His conversation with Leia is like, I would watch that 10 times over and over again. Great. It's just so
French kiss.
It makes me cry.
And like, it's just, and I love the way that like that Kylo Ren and General Hux like interact with each other at the end. That it's like General Hux is constantly like trying to like talk to him and be like, maybe we should think this through. And Kylo Ren's like, fuck you! Like, he's just so angry. He's just constantly plowing through everything. He's like, I want every gun on Luke Skywalker now! And Hux is like,
shoot that piece of junk out of the sky!
Yeah, it's so fucking good.
So good.
I love this movie so much. This is what happens. See, like, I'm watching it and I'm like, oh, I don't know about all this stuff. Like, the whole other stuff's weird and, like, this and that. And, like, I'm kind of waiting for it. And then I'm like, oh! I'm like my dad watching a Seahawks game. I'm like, yes!
Yeah.
Yes! Like, this is my...
Like, we're scaring the dog.
Yeah, exactly. I just can't help but, like, have a big fucking grin on my face. I'm like, this is perfect. This is perfect blockbuster action filmmaking. And I love Rian Johnson. It rules. It's so good.
And then that guy licks the ground and says salt, and I'm like, Gah!
I'm always surprised by that line reading. It's never quite how I remember it. He's like,
because it's
he's like a little bit surprised by it. He's like, salt.
Yeah.
Like, there's literally no reason why we would need to know it's salt at all.
That's cool.
Like,
I don't know.
It's cool. It's just like, if they were like, dirt, you'd be like, yeah, it's okay. Sure.
Yeah.
Clay. It's clay. You're like, okay, why'd you taste it?
What if he was like, pastrami?
Like, it's not like it changes anything. You're just like, look at all the salts. That's so cool.
It could be snow. It could be snow. It's probably just saying,
sure.
like...
It doesn't change the visuals. It's still cool.
I guess. I don't know. I like it better just ideological. The fact that you know it's salt adds, like, a sensory element to it. You know? You can kind of
I think they were making sure you knew it wasn't snow. I literally think that's what it was. They were like, they're going to think it's snow. We're going to let them know that it's salt. Like, and then they just had a guy did do that.
Like,
it's critical and crucial that they know what the anatomic compounds are in this scene. It's critical.
But what you're thinking about, if you're thinking about salt while you're watching it, it changes the experience. It's crunchy. It's got a taste. It's got a smell.
It would have been thematic if it was sand, though. It would have been like, ooh,
sand.
That's. Oh wait, here are some things. Here are my final thoughts.
Okay.
This is my biggest problem with this movie, is that no one loses an arm.
It's true.
That's all.
It is a second one.
I needed one person to lose an arm. Just an arm. I feel like that's not a lot to ask for. It could have been Poe.
Unwatchable.
It could have been BB-8. He lost his little thumb guy.
No.
No one loses
C-3PO. C-3PO
has an arm still.
C-3PO.
He gained his arm. He has his arms back.
But he lost it in the last
episode
movie.
2.
They're reversing what you think. They're taking C-3PO gains an arm instead of losing one.
I'm not gonna move. Here's the thing that I've been saying in my head while we've been thinking through this.
Okay.
Is that I feel like this movie for me is representative in the way that I consumed like Avatar: The Last Airbender, and then Legend of Korra, where the first time I saw it, I was like, this is terrible, it's bad, and then I watched it again and I was like, no, it's good. And other like Back to the Future 1, so good. Back to the Future 2, it's terrible, I hate it, and then I watched it again and I was like, oh, I actually do like this.
I like Back to the Future 2 more and more the more I watch it.
Right?
Yeah.
But when I saw this movie, it kind of like instilled this fear of that, like, maybe I'm not gonna like Star Wars anymore, and then it like my Star Wars like new trilogy went dormant inside of my body. And when I watch like I hadn't watched The Force Awakens in so long. I haven't watched this movie since I saw it in theaters, so it was like, actually I'm like appreciating more about it. So maybe in another rewatch I'll be like, yeah, it's actually pretty good.
Yeah,
which
actually,
I already am.
is kind of the best movie of all time, actually.
I'm already there. Like I don't hate it. I just like it makes me sad because it's just like a symptom of a bigger, not a conclusion that I would maybe prefer. But if someone had lost an arm, then everything would have been fine.
Perfect film.
If we consider Rogue One to be the second one instead.
I won't.
Does somebody lose an arm in Rogue One?
They all lose their entire body. Yeah.
I don't think that counts.
They all get eviscerated.
I don't think it counts. Oh man, if Poe or Finn had lost his arm,
that would have been good.
At the very
Finn should have lost
and
the
like
arm.
she didn't like quite save all of him, like in How to Train Your Dragon.
Right.
You brought him back alive. Well, mostly. That would have been like, you got me.
That's good.
You got
that
it.
would have been good.
Thank you.
That would have been fun. You're right.
You know what else is sick? Is this whole Salt Planet thing, because it's red underneath, and the ships are like on little poles. They're like skimmers. So every once in a while, they'll do a cut where you're looking at them advancing towards you, and you can see like the entire history of the battle laid out based on like the markings they've made in the salt. You can like see where each like speeder has gone and exactly where they blew up or where they are now. You can see them like weaving in and out of each other.
Yeah,
that is the coolest
dope.
Shit in the world.
It's good. It's good. It's
good. This is the part of the podcast where we just go, it's really good, over and over again, which is what happens sometimes.
Is the hand lost?
True. Okay.
Maybe
guys...
one of the Arctic foxes lost it. You don't know.
Could have been Kylo Ren. He's a Skywalker.
Context.
It would have worked.
Context.
Always a Skywalker.
Okay, so here's what's going to happen. You guys are going to stall for me while I look for a good review to close us out. Keisha, you can start to do the plugs if you'd like. Uh-oh.
Elan's gone.
We lost Ilan.
Oh, no. Sacrifice. Well.
Whoops. Somebody want to check on him?
Ilan, are you okay? Should I text him?
So, I have a little change in tradition today. We're destroying the old and going on with the new or whatever. I don't have a creepypasta in a traditional sense. I just found something that I don't understand, and I just need other people to know what I'm going through.
Okay.
So what I have found, I found this really creepy link on my computer, and I followed it, and I got onto Wattpad, and that's a creepypasta in itself. Okay. So welcome to Creepypasta Book Club. We're on Wattpad today, so you know it's good. So I found, so it's Creepypasta X Star Wars Jedi versus Sith. So what this is that it's taking those classic creepypasta characters that you know, Slender Man, Tiki Toby, Jeff the Killer, all your friends are here. Half of them are named Jack. And we're just gonna, which one of these serial killer ghosts would be a Sith, and which of these serial killer ghosts would be Jedi? And there's another fun element to this where it also includes their star signs. So Jackson, you're a Leo.
Right.
So you're eyeless Jack, and you're also a Jedi. So that's some information for you. I'm pretty sure eyeless Jack does stab a whole bunch of people in his story. I have never read a traditional creepypasta, so we'll go with that. Next one, Capricorn, also a Jedi. You're Tiki Toby. Don't know what the fuck he does. His name's Toby. That's kind of fun. If you're a Pisces, you're also a Jedi, and you're masky. Homicidal Leo is a Jedi. Jane the Killer is also a Jedi, and Sally is a Jedi.
Wait, hold on. I need backstory on Jane the Killer.
I thought
it's Jeff the Killer, but it's a woman. It's Jeff the Killer, but it's a woman.
I like Jane. I like the idea that it's Jane the Virgin instead.
That's also an option. So you want to know who the Sith are of these monsters who kill people for entertainment?
Who's that?
So we've got Slender Man, which seems kind of rude to me. If you're gonna tell me that if any creepypasta is like kind of neutral, I would say it's Slender Man, because the next Sith is Jeff the Killer, and he's got the killer in his name, and there's just no way that he's gonna be a Sith. Then we have another Gemini, Ben Drowned. That's his full name, by the way. First name Ben, last name Drowned. And then we've got Laughing Jack, Hoodie. I've never heard of Hoodie before, but apparently he's a Cancer and also a Sith. And then we have Clockwork, which is another one, and he's a Virgo, and he's a Sith. So this is just something that I've discovered today, and I just needed other people to know it exists, and I just need I just need everyone to know.
Okay. Give me just a moment. Oh, Elan's back. Okay.
Yeah.
What's your star sign?
My star sign. Oh, you mean like the
your
zodiac?
Zodiac.
Oh.
I don't call it because I try to maintain my Chinese customs, you know.
No clue, to be honest. I maybe I looked it up at one time, but I forgot.
That's okay.
Oh, well, good.
I envy you, Ilan.
I
wish I could live a life where I don't need to know what my zodiac sign is.
No, hold on.
I've discovered there's another.
The crowd I rolled with in college were really into the Enneagram type, so that was more of the.
What's your Enneagram?
My Enneagram is type 5, I want to say. Oh, no way.
Baby.
Ooh.
Oh, cool. Right on. Cool.
I haven't taken that test, so I don't know.
I don't believe in any of it, but it's fun to take tests.
Okay, I've discovered a new layer to this Wattpad article, I guess we're calling it, 'cause it's not a fan fiction. But the top image is a picture of Slenderman dressed up as Darth Vader, and that's very enjoyable. Because the thing about Darth Vader is that if you put the mask on, you're just Darth Vader. So it's just Slenderman without the Darth Vader mask dressed up as Darth Vader, and I think that's very good.
Wattpad, and I'll make what Jedi/Sith are you based off of your Enneagram? I think
I'm sure there's 10 billion BuzzFeed things for you.
Enneagram as much, I feel like. It's growing though. It's on the rise.
It's got less aesthetic tied into it, you know? Like Zodiac has that celestial.
Palpatine. Type 1. Yoda.
COVID hasn't stopped babies from being born or emergencies from happening.
Sorry, I've got
At
an ad.
Healthcare, we can.
Sorry about that stream. I'm just recording my computer's audio, so they just heard. Did you know
it looks like I'm a Taurus? Because I think these are based on birth dates, right?
That's me too.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so you're both Jane the Killer. I've got terrible news for you. You're both Jane the Killer, and you're both Jedi, just like Jane the Killer.
Why would Jane the Killer be a Sith Lord?
Why would any of these not be Sith Lords? Homicidal Liu is a Jedi.
I guess that's fair.
Their name is got homicidal. First name homicidal, last name Liu. I just don't know.
10% homicide, 50% skill.
It's the year of the ox, and it's about to be the star sign of the ox. So if you're an ox, man, I don't know what that means. I don't know what any of it means.
Man.
Just go buy it.
Go crazy.
Go off, King.
Go off.
Yeah. I was born in the year of the ox, and I'm a Taurus, so this month is gonna be lit for me. It's probably not. It's probably gonna be the same that it's been. we don't know yet.
Well, it's because I'm year of the dragon. What are you year of, Jackson?
The ox.
The ox also probably. And you guys are the same age. That'll do it.
That's true.
That'll do it. I guess I need to start thinking of
Ilan,
years
I'm
of the
pretty
animals.
sure you're a rabbit. Pretty sure.
Okay.
Looks like a dude to me. Good work, Jackson. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna feel bad though. I gotta make sure.
It's always the least fun question to ask a group of your friends at school because you're all going to be in the same year.
It's true.
Like you just gotta get
tiger. I get tiger and rabbit mixed up all the time.
Oh, it's wild because we all went to the same high school though. It's the Tigers.
Tony the Tiger and Love with the Grinch.
I forgot about this. It's been a hot second since this came up. My thumb is too long for that to look normal.
Oh, is it LC? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
For Lewis and Clark.
I never went.
LC.
I never went.
Look, my thumb.
I never went to a single basketball game.
Not even the rubber chicken.
I never went to a single rubber chicken.
You all know what the rubber chicken is, listeners who didn't go to our specific high school. I still get paid to go to those. Not recently, but
are they fun?
Yeah.
As an adult?
I just sit with other adults and we're like, oh look, there's a student. Wave at them so they know we exist outside of a church on Tuesdays, and then we go get beer and pizza, and that's pretty fun.
Nice.
So.
I'm pretty biased because my brother played, but
that's right.
Those was always a fun time.
I loved rubber chicken. I think they're so fun. Spirit basketball. I like a basketball game.
I mostly just went because my girlfriend wanted to. That was sort of my experience with the rubber chicken.
Lame.
It was like at the end of the year, right?
I don't know.
No, it's like halfway.
Well, it's the fact that you like had to buy a T-shirt, and they were like, so here's the thing: if you went to the Rubber Chicken, they were like, you have to participate, and you have to know all the dances, and you have to buy the T-shirt, because if you're not there and you're not high on spirit, we're gonna lose. It's gonna be your fault.
Okay,
so I'm not gonna go with them.
For the people who didn't go to our specific high school and our specific town, the Rubber Chicken was a spirit competition / basketball tournament between our school.
Spirit competition / basketball game.
Hey, the basketball games don't matter as much. You can lose all of the basketball
secondary,
games and then still win the chicken. So what would happen is we'd go up against our rival high school, and both the boys team and the girls team varsity teams would play basketball, and everyone, all of the student section would be like wearing themed shirts, and we had
there was a
props.
theme.
And we got judged on like how good our cheers were, how respectful we were, how our color scheme was. And then whoever won the basketball games plus the spirit competition got to take home a Rubber Chicken for the year. And it's pretty fun.
And it was also, the thing about it was that it was at the Spokane Arena, which is like it
was a big deal.
It's like a big sports arena.
Stadium.
It's like where I went to see, I guess I didn't see any concerts there.
We saw Jim Gaffigan there.
We did see Jim Gaffigan there, but I don't think I've seen a concert at the Spokane Arena. That sucks. I should go see a concert at the Spokane Arena. Anyway.
I was just always turned off by it, because they're like, you have to buy 3 T-shirts, and if you're not going to be off your ass crazy excited, then don't come. And I was like, I'm already a nerdy kid. I'm not going to come. Like, I'm not going.
I loved a good rubber chick. It's fun.
It's fair
for me.
I'm glad you had fun.
Ilan and I are team Rubber Chicken, and you guys are team, it's fine, whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. It was fine, whatever.
That's what I just said.
Yeah, I know. I know. That's why I said it, Keisha. Okay. Do you guys want to start doing are we done? Are we done for the day? Do you want to start doing the plugs and wrap it up?
Do you have any final thoughts on the Last Jedi or the Rubber Chicken, I guess?
Well, I don't want to get us into too far of a tangent, but I think a thought that I had forgotten to bring up that I've been thinking about Kylo Ren was like kind of like his motivation, because I found it interesting, kind of thinking back to, kind of connects to what I was saying earlier about Kylo's whole pitch about like, Rey, join me in the middle, and we don't have to worry, and we can just be the 2 most powerful forces, and we can just do whatever we want. And kind of think like, what is driving that? And it definitely, I remember watching it, most recent time I've watched it, there's this line at the very beginning, his first scene with Snoke, where Snoke just kind of like, and this is kind of how you're kind of setting Snoke up to die, because he's so, he's very powerful, but he's also very arrogant. And he just straight up says like to Kylo's face, like, you just find some sucker's, weakness, and you can just keep manipulating it. And you just manipulate.
There's the point where
the
he
shit
says,
out of it, pretty much.
I cannot be betrayed. That's hard as fuck. Like, that rules.
Yeah, yeah.
You're like, I actually wanted this to happen, so. But you know that it's Palpatine speaking, so he's kind of right, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. Whatever. I don't care. I haven't seen it.
I mean, like, through this whole trilogy, I think that
God, I wish that were me.
I kind of feel like through this whole trilogy, though, you're kind of seeing like Kylo Ren really be, as Snoke kind of calls him at the very beginning, like he's a child, who I don't think never really grew up per se. Like he kind of he was on the path. Yeah, he was on the path to become a Jedi, and then he switched sides. He's just been just a vacuum for power ever since. And I think he seems to be more motivated, more so than by which side he's on, than like what opportunity allows him to fulfill that kind of. I think that he thinks that attaining power will kind of he'll be able to realize himself, but it's interesting to kind of see that path he goes through, and kind of how important that arc is in this movie particularly.
Right, yeah.
I mean, the conversation of how Kylo Ren like perfectly mirrors like the right-wing pipeline is just like we talked about it last time when we talked about The Force Awakens, but like it's so true. I mean, he is this teen who like doesn't he's a child. He's an angry child. He doesn't know what to do. He's feel like he's been betrayed and hurt by his family and by everybody around him. So he just like clings to whatever he thinks is going to get him any kind of semblance of self or semblance of power. And for a really, really long time, that is Snoke. And it doesn't matter that Snoke is an asshole. It doesn't matter that Snoke like literally physically attacks him. It doesn't matter because Kylo Ren is just being so abused and so manipulated that this is what he thinks is going to work out the best for him. So like it's a weird thing where it's like that moment where he kills Snoke, it feels like such a relief. You're like, yes, Kylo Ren's going to be a good guy. We're going to get this kid out of this horrible situation. And then when it's not that at all, like kind of like you can't just, it can't just be over. You can't just fix it by
ideology wasn't just like, oh, I'll just follow Snoke and then we'll see how it happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Like as the kids say, Adam Driver always understands the assignment.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. It's just,
Also watch A Marriage Story.
Marriage Story. Maybe we talk about Marriage Story too much to not do it on the show eventually. Marriage Story's so good. It's another Laura Dern, Adam Driver joint.
It's true. And Laura Dern's also kind of a condescending, not nice woman in this movie.
But it's better in Marriage Story.
But it's better. It makes more sense because she's a lawyer.
Yeah.
No offense to lawyers.
Okay, here's a grudge I've been holding on to for about 2 years now.
Oh, okay.
In 2019, when Laura Dern got nominated for Marriage Story, there were a lot of people who were like, actually, I think Laura Dern's better in Little Women this year, actually. And I was like, that is the worst. No. Like, Laura Dern's great in Little Women.
You just like her in Little Women more, because she's a likable character.
Yeah, she's just more likable.
Yeah, in Marriage Story, she kicks ass. She is giving, one of the weirdest, most interesting performances I can remember in Marriage Story. She rules in that. People being like, actually, I think that in Little Women, she is better. That's what Little Women stands talk like.
Because you like her.
Yeah.
The Little Women stands are gonna come.
Yeah.
It sounds like this.
Actually,
that's what, yeah.
I like this hill that you've chosen to die on.
Yeah, I just
feel
strongly about
very
that.
lush.
I think she rules in Marriage Story, and
really
she's,
good.
Of course, really good in Little Women also. Little Women also
Laura Dern
rules.
always understands the assignment.
I think I even like Little Women better than I like Marriage Story.
Wow.
I think Laura Dern's better in Marriage Story. Anyway.
It is. Both of those movies are really good.
We didn't talk about Andy Serkis enough, I don't think.
Oh, no!
We didn't.
Our main man fucking killing it in this movie.
I know. I love... Oh, God,
We're talking about somebody always understanding the assignment.
I know, God.
Absolutely.
It's just,
Andy Serkis stan account.
I love just the little, like, the list. It's just, like, I never would have thought of that, but it works so well with the character. Like, I'm just, like, this, like, nervous tick that it's just good. It's so good.
Serkis.
I think you're thinking of Benicio del Toro. DJ.
Am I?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm mixing them
up,
aren't I?
Andy Serkis plays Snoke.
Oh, you're right. Why did I think that was...
But
like, oh, you know what? It's because he looks like he does in Black Panther. That's what it is.
Right.
I totally got this.
Like in real life.
But that whole...
But he's not CGI.
No, but they're like the same amount of like grimy, and they're always wearing brown coats, and they've got like fuzzy hair.
You know who loses an arm? Andy Serkis.
In Age of
Ultron.
So
there we go. See, I was just filling in the gaps. There you go.
But I think like that whole little bit of business in the throne room scene where Andy Serkis is like, yes, I can see in your mind. He's decided who his true enemy is, and now he's turning the lightsaber to strike true at his real foe. Like, that could be so fucking cheesy and out of left field and crazy, but I feel like he sells that so perfectly that it works.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah, got he! Like, it's just so good.
Yeah, it is. I guess the reason that I kind of forget it's Andy Serkis is because Snoke's face isn't very good.
I think it's good. I like the way he emotes.
I like the way it looks. I don't think he emotes enough though. Like I like the imagery. I like the imagery of him being this old man that's just like like one of the, just barely alive. Like there's something wrong with him.
Right.
It looks like Mitch McConnell. Like I like that. I like that vibe. But
I would love to
it's
see
just-
a Mitch McConnell.
Mitch McConnell is the Snoke of our galaxy. So,
but it's just, I love that look. But it's just like he looks a little bit too CGI-y. Like I just don't think he looks.
it's the eyes.
Real.
They shouldn't have made
It's the
them
eyes.
human.
His skin is just like a little too pink. He looks like I like that he's like malformed, but he just like ends up looking too alien. Like I feel like
I know.
they should have like because we've seen Andy Serkis just like we know he knows how to act. He does such a good job. Like I feel like they should have like taken design back a little bit just to see more of Andy Serkis shine through. You know,
Kind of like an
like the
alien
whole
Freddy
thing.
Krueger.
Like
I think he should
He
have
is
been 100
alien
tall.
Freddy Krueger.
no, Jackson, you
100
should
foot
not
tall.
have been.
No,
Should've been
I
100
kind
feet
of
tall.
agree. I kind of agree.
He should
If he
not
was
have
just
been.
huge.
Okay, but then we were never gonna kill him. It would have done nothing.
Chop off his hands.
Throw it up in his eye.
Bleed out.
Use the force, stick a lightsaber through his eyeball into his brain. It would be sick.
There we go. There we
Yeah.
go.
Like even now, I can see you hooking the lightsaber at the eyeball of your
At the
true
eye of
enemy.
your enemy.
I like the fact too that like if you think about it, like Snoke and then Palpatine in the OG trilogy, like they just seem like old men who can barely move,
Right.
like in a fight, but they're just so powerful. They're just like rubbing their feet on the floor and just shocking people to death or something.
Yeah.
I was gonna
You're
say
like, I'll
Snoke
show
doesn't really.
those youngins.
Snoke doesn't really ever have like a display of power, really, in this.
Well, he
There's, like, the
electrocutes
little lightning
Kylo,
thing
but
at
that's
the
like
beginning.
it. Yeah.
Does he?
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
he
Yeah.
throws Kylo all around, and they're not even in the same room.
Right. Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
He whips.
No,
them
they
out.
are in the
General
same
Hux around
room.
at the very beginning
And
from
they
a
have
different
twice.
clip.
He's hustling Ray. He's like, whoop, whoop, whoop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's
And of
another
course, you
really
know-
good, like, sort of understated thing that Andy Serkis is good at. Just playing the like that little tiny finger flip, and she's like, you're like, ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, if there's like a
He's
there's a
like,
real
okay.
causality to it that feels really satisfying, just from a filmmaking perspective. I don't know, it sells really well.
Yeah. He's like, look out the window at the your precious rebellion.
Yeah, God, it's so good. It's like, oh, look out the window at your precious rebellion. That's my
I set up this magnifying glass so that you could see all of it.
Keijin seems like I don't know if I could do that again now that I've done it one time.
My Snoke voice. That's not very good.
Just never mind.
Wait, what? No, I don't know what you're
I
talking
thought you were
about.
laughing at my Andy Serkis impression.
I liked it.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. I don't know if I
That's
can
what I
do
was
it
laughing
again.
at.
Okay.
No,
I don't
that's
know. Whatever. Miscommunication.
Just like Kathleen Kennedy.
Kathleen Kennedy's kind of the real Snoke of the franchise, if you think
If
about
you
it.
think about it, Kathleen.
Did you guys see that thing that was going around Twitter that was like, here are the CEOs of Marvel and Disney and Pixar and Star Wars, and see which one's different. And it's like the three white guys that run the other three companies with all their like fucking action figures and Funko Pops behind them on the shelves, and Kathleen Kennedy is just in like a nice clean office
Yeah,
that
they're
doesn't
like-
have any Funko
Yeah.
Pops in it.
She's in the office and she doesn't have fun and she doesn't know anything about Star Wars. And you're like,
Yeah,
"Mish."
like yeah, whatever.
It's
fuck off.
almost as if women aren't allowed to have fun or
Yeah.
else they're not taken seriously. It's almost like she has to be more professional in order
Right.
to get the same amount of respect that everybody else automatically gets. Huh,
Like,
weird.
I want to make it. People talk about Kathleen Kennedy like she just popped into existence in 2015 to ruin Star Wars. Like, I
Yeah.
want to tell you some movies that Kathleen Kennedy is a producer on.
Well, I just want to introduce you to my friend over here. His name is George Lucas, and he directed the prequels.
Well,
So if he could just come on over here,
Yeah.
well, he didn't direct prequels. You know what I mean?
let's take a look at some.
They're
movies,
his fault directly.
Some movies that Kathleen Kennedy has produced. She is the sole producer on many of these movies. She made them. She willed them into existence. Okay, Jurassic Park. Back to the Future, The Sixth Sense, E.T., Gremlins, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, The Adventures of Tintin, Hook, The Color Purple,
Hook is
Twister.
so good.
Hook.
like,
Hook is, I will die on Hook. On the hill Hook.
Like, as if I don't know, the way people talk about Kathleen Kennedy, like she isn't, like, literally one of the most influential filmmakers of the last 100 years is so wild.
Well, it's because they don't care about women until they get to hate them. That's what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
I hate to break it to you. That's why. Yeah.
Like,
didn't they just recently appoint, I think, Jennifer Lee, the filmmaker from the 2 Frozen movies, I think is I don't know if she's like the top executive of Pixar now, but I think
it was
maybe
John
it's just
Lasseter for a long time.
Yeah.
Maybe it might not be Pixar. Maybe it's just like, Disney Animation Studios.
Disney Animation.
Well, John Lasseter was in charge of Walt Disney Animation for a long time too. Although there might have even been somebody since him. I think Jennifer Lee is the head right now. But I can't
That's
remember.
Cool, yeah.
I can't remember if she replaced John Lasseter or if there was somebody else even before.
In between, yeah.
It was Johnny Boy. Not to make light of John Lasseter, but...
Yeah, because he wasn't fired or anything for it coming forward that he was kind of a creepazoid, right?
Mean,
like, that just, like...
I mean, I don't know. It depends on how you define it. It wasn't like, you're fired, but it was like...
yeah, it's like...
like, step back a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, you can still get an executive producer on some stuff, and he kind of stepped out. Like, it's just...
It's the same thing at, like, Bon Appetit over the summer.
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay, so we're creeping up on 2.5 hours on this podcast.
Yep.
Classic.
Kezia,
okay, but in what reality was it not, though?
This was always gonna be a 3-hour boy.
Yeah, it's inevitable.
Kezia,
well, if you enjoyed this conversation, you should join us on our Discord. We talk about a lot of stuff, still talking about fruit, going strong, talking about fruit there. But also other things. Maybe we'll talk about Star Wars. Maybe there's some people out there who feel the same way I feel about The Last Jedi, and we can talk.
Yours is kind of a weird take, Kezia, that I have not really heard from anybody before.
Well, thank you. I'm original.
Anyway, it's not that you're thinking.
Join our Discord, the link in the description. Leave us a comment. Let us know what movies you might want us to talk about. Maybe we'll talk about Marriage Story. Give us a like. Leave a comment. Subscribe. You can also follow us on Twitter at NoNerdsPod. You can follow Jackson at Jepperpack. You can follow Adeline at Hollaback Horse. And our lovely guest, Ilan Hernandez, is here. Ilan, please tell us anything you would like to plug.
My Instagram, IJH32. You can follow me on Twitter at Ilan J. Hernandez. Those are really kind of, Facebook, if any of you guys still use that. You just find me on Facebook too.
Do you have a MySpace?
I do not, no, unfortunately.
Ilan, the best at introspective looks on everything, so you should follow him absolutely. He's just he's very observant, and he's good at it.
I try to be. I try to post more now. I don't know why. I just don't really that much today, but like I want to try to do more about movies and stuff right now. I'm really excited for the Oscars this weekend. That'll be fun. I enjoyed your guys' chat on the last episode of Santa Metal about kind of the Oscar roundup and stuff. So the one I didn't see was the Best Picture lineup was The Father, and I was very interested to hear your guys' takes on that. So if I'm able to see it before the ceremony, that'll be fun.
I still haven't seen Minari, and I still haven't seen The Father because they're not showing anywhere in Salt Lake City, and I have to pay the freaking $20 to watch it at home.
Yeah.
I loved Minari. I thought Minari was great.
Yeah, I saw Minari for my birthday actually. Last week I went to a movie theater to see something for the first time like over a year. So I was like, see a movie and check one off of my Best Picture list. It was great. It was really cool. I really loved it.
So
I think that Nomadland will probably win, but we'll see. I enjoyed that.
I think that's just the way things are going.
If you could pick, who would you want to win?
Well, you know what's weird? I tried the other day because I know that the way they vote for Best Picture is the whole preferential ballot thing where you rank, in this case, the 8 instead of just winner take all. So I tried to sort of take myself through that the other day, and I was like having such a hard time going through the 8 and like ranking all of them because I just think that all of them this year are just so unique and distinctively have really unique, distinctive strengths that I really liked. So I would say I don't disagree with. I'm not going to be bummed to see what's probably the inevitable of Nomadland winning, but
pissed that Nomadland won.
I would love to see Minari win though.
They ruined the Oscars.
Like, it was just, there were Minari, not to make this even longer, but I saw it with my sister, and there's this, I'm so sorry. There's a scene in Minari where the grandmother brings to America just like bags and bags of ingredients that you can't really find in just loose plastic bags. And that is so much of the Asian immigrant experience that I've never like seen on screen before.
Right.
And then she makes her grandson a tea with like really expensive ingredients, and then he pours it down the drain. And my sister literally poured down $100 worth of soup that was this much because she didn't like how it tasted. And it was just, it was incredible to see that on screen.
Yeah. I felt seen.
That's such a shared experience to be like, drink this. I can't. It's disgusting. Well, it's expensive and it's good for you, so you have to.
Has there been any hot onion water representation in cinema before, Kezia,
not that I've seen yet. Not that I've seen. This was close. There probably were some green onions in that guy.
Right. Was it? Yeah, obviously I'm a Sound of Metal boy. I'm a Sound of Metal head. I guess that's as good of a stand name as I can think of for Sound of Metal. Next week we are going to be doing Mortal Kombat, the movie, not the activity. with Sag from Cosmonaut Tabletop, and unless, I don't know, I feel like there's not quite as much of a groundswell for Mortal Kombat I was expecting. There's a reality where maybe we pivot and try something else. I don't know, but I think we're gonna do Mortal Kombat. Maybe it'll be fun. And yeah, we did the plugs.
Playing the video game. We're watching the movie.
So, would you guys like to hear a 1-star review of The Last Jedi?
Yes, and this podcast.
I was lucky that I actually found this pretty quickly. I didn't have to dive too deep into whatever this would look like. This person gives it 1 star, and they say, the cinematography slaps hard as fuck, but they did slaughter the story, though. Good cinematography does not equal good art. That's like if I'm giving you the best sexual pleasures that you've ever had, but at the same time I'm whispering some demonic shit in your ear with my eyes rolled up. Yeah, no thank you. 1 star.
Why would you say that? Why would you write that and put on the internet?
Why would you think that?
Wow.
Why do you think it's like that?
Well,
oh my god.
I guess.
Just because you American doesn't mean you Amerishould.
Oh my glory.
Anyway, my name's Jackson McMurray.
My name's Adeline McMurray.
My name is Kezia Rhodes.
And I'm Ilan Hernandez.
And this continues to be No Nerds Allowed. Keep it salty out there, sailors. Bringing it back.
No.
Keeping it going.
This was longer
you definitely
than the movie.
forgot.
This podcast was longer than the film.
And we didn't even talk about the whole movie.
Yeah, that must have happened before, right? This can't be the first time.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
We talked about whatever Pokemon Forever for so long.
That's true.
Like,
That
we
one's
really
like 80
did.
minutes long. Yeah, that one's probably longer. I think our Half-Blood Prince episode's longer than the movie, too. Because that one
We had talked about Harry Potter for a long time. Sometimes I forget that we talked about Harry Potter on the podcast.
Yeah, I know. That's one of those things that, because it was kind of before all the bullshit with J.K. Rowling sort of blew up. And, like, I've listened to those back, and I think that our takes on those really hold up. Like, I'm pretty proud of the way that we've thought through those things, and I don't think we've done a good job of not incriminating ourselves in any way through all 8 of those episodes.
Well, yeah, because we're not.
Talk about BB.
Because we're not transphobes. It's easy to not incriminate yourself when you're not a transphobe.
No, I just mean, like, not, like, saying things about J.K. Rowling that, like, haven't aged well.
Oh, not being like, J.K. Rowling. Yeah. Well, because she's always been kind of, here's my personal opinion about J.K. Rowling. To me, she's always been kind of like an annoying kind of girl boss. And then it came out that she was transphobic and weird and homophobic. And I was like, these 2 dots make sense. It makes sense that they're connected, you know?
Yeah.
Not to be like, I hated her before anything bad came out. But just like, she always just like gave me that vibe. So I was like, yeah.
I mean, she had one Asian character and her name was Cho Chang. So
and her name was Cho Chang. And she was in Ravenclaw.
Felt great for me.
Yeah.
Lavender Brown.
Yeah, no really significant characters of color to speak of, I guess. At least in the films. I haven't really read the books very closely.
Yeah, well,
I mean, I don't know.
Few.
They don't really, like, specify the race of anybody in the books as far as I can remember.
Except for Cho-Chang.
Okay.
No, because
I
that's...
she's just named Cho-Chang. I don't think they say, and she's Asian. I think you do that all.
She might have.
Actually, Kezia, I think maybe you're the racist one because you're the one who's
It's true.
assuming
I
that
hate
Cho-Chang
Asians.
is Asian.
Minari's
I was gonna
bad.
say...
No, it's not true. I love it so much.
Well, that's kind of like the loophole in which people say that Hermione is black because she describes her having like big fuzzy hair, but never like explicitly says she's white or black. At least I don't think she does. Like there's
it would just be a weird thing
books,
to
who
say.
knows?
I don't know. It would be weird if J.K. Rowling was like, "Here's Hermione. She had big frizzy hair, and she was white." Like, I don't know.
She's white. Okay.
Yeah.
She was white. We were.
Yeah.
What is SNL? Guess what? We were black.
Well, it's like because I was gonna say you could like give her a Jewish last name and it'd be like, okay, she has curly hair and she's kind of white,
Right.
but yeah, no, race.
Yeah. Anyway, but like for real though, I'm pretty proud of a lot of the Harry Potter episodes we did. I think those are some of our best ones from the before times.
Before times.
I don't know before what exactly. I guess before Kezia, but I feel like there's
Just
before being good at it. I would say honestly.
When does this podcast get good? Would you say?
I don't know.
This one.
That's the thing, though. This one, right today.
Right.
Because I'm tempted to say Beetlejuice.
I really, really like our Iron Man 3 episode. I think that's one of our best ones. Maybe it's there.
Yeah. People go back and listen to the old ones. Like people, I don't remember who it was, but they brought up like the Bugs Life episode, and I was like,
that's a bad one.
I don't think that episode was good. Like we had fun recording it, and we had a fun conversation. It was objectively a bad podcast episode because A, we did not talk about a Bug's Life, and B, we just talked about whatever the fuck we wanted for an hour.
I'm just realizing that this is the first time we've had Ilan on since
How to Train
Your Dragon, which was like episode. It was
like
single digits.
This is my third one because we did King of the Monsters.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, we did.
That was still
right.
like that was
I
like
only respect Elan's perspective on anything like that.
Right.
Yeah.
But that was still like sub 20 episodes. I think that was like way back. It's been a hot second since we've had you on.
Yeah, I think Ouchie's favorite No Nerds Allowed episode is the Bugs Life episode.
I'm gonna be right back. I have to pee so bad, but I want to say goodbye. Okay.
Oh, okay. We won't.
I drank this whole thing.
Okay, we won't stop until you come back.
Okay. See you.
But yeah, we talk a lot about Alien Covenant.
We do. I talk about how much I don't want to watch Alien Covenant.
You gotta watch the Alien movies, Adeline. Just do
I'm
it.
a big baby.
You're not as big of a baby as you think you are.
Oh, you're right, but I freak myself out with how much I think I'm gonna be scared of things. That's it.
I don't know. I think that you might be grossed out by Prometheus. I think that's the grossest one. Or maybe
it did cut out when you said the gross thing.
Oh, I just said you might be grossed out by Prometheus. I think that's the grossest one.
Yes.
And Alien 3's pretty gross too. But Alien 3 also is my least favorite one, to be honest. I like all the Alien movies, but like of them, Alien 3 is my least favorite.
What would we do if there was just like a ghost in Keisha's video? Would that'd be fun?
Chad, keep an eye on Keisha's video. Just check for ghosts for us. We appreciate it.
Just check for ghosts. Can we get a ghost check?
Ayo, ghost check.
Ayo, ghost check.
Focus on my life check.
Ayo, Casper the Friendly Ghost check.
Ayo, dying live on stream check.
Ayo, murdering Jackson for clout check.
Okay, we gotta stop.
Yeah, okay.
Sometimes I kind of don't believe that you guys actually like this podcast. I feel yeah. I feel like I just.
Oh no! Yeah.
Like I feel like sometimes I wonder, because you're like on the like Discord or whatever. Sometimes I wonder if you feel obligated to listen to the podcast for some reason. I'm always like psyching myself out.
It's that imposter syndrome of I'm like, oh, nobody likes the podcast. Like it's like you got 6 people watching. Oh, but yeah, but they don't like it.
Right? Yeah. I just always assume that everybody's just feels like they're doing me a favor by watching my show. But
yeah, everyone is doing us a solid.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. It feels good to know that you guys like the show.
Is Spencer new in the chat, or am I just forgetting?
Yeah, I don't think we've ever talked to Spencer Malga before. It's nice to meet you.
Yeah, it's good to see you.
Okay, I'm tired. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, I need to order food.
But thank you guys for showing up. It was a fun stream. I think this one went really well.
We don't believe that you like the podcast, but we like that you make us think you like the podcast.
Stop lying, Dylan. Stop lying to me. Okay, cool. That's it. Thank you guys so much, and we will see you next